tonight, we are going to drift slowly beneath the surface of the ocean. There is nowhere you need to travel, and nothing you need to remember. You can simply rest while we descend into one of the quietest and least explored places on Earth. The ocean covers more than 2/3 of our planet, yet much of its deepest water remains unseen by human eyes. From the shore, the sea may appear bright, familiar, and full of motion. But beneath the waves, sunlight begins to fade surprisingly quickly. As we move downward, the blue water grows darker and calmer. The sounds of wind and rain disappear far above us. The surface becomes a distant ceiling, gently shimmering in the light. The uppermost region of the ocean is called the sunlight zone. It extends from the surface to a depth of roughly 200 meters. Most familiar ocean life lives within this bright layer. Tiny drifting organisms use sunlight to create energy. Fish move through forests of seaweed and wide fields of floating plankton. Even here, the ocean is deeper than many tall buildings are high. As we continue downward, the colors around us slowly change. Red light is absorbed first. A red object carried into deeper water would gradually appear brown, gray, and finally almost black. Orange and yellow light disappear next. Blue light travels farther through seawater than most other visible colors. This is one reason the open ocean often appears blue. At around 200 meters, we enter the twilight zone. Scientists also call it the mesopelagic zone. The word mesopelagic describes the middle region of the open ocean. Very little sunlight reaches this depth. It is too dim for most plants to grow. There are no ordinary green forests here. Instead, animals depend on food drifting down from the waters above. Small pieces of organic material constantly sink through the ocean. They include tiny fragments of plants, microscopic animals, waste, and other remains. Together, these falling particles are sometimes called marine snow. Marine snow may drift for weeks before reaching the deep sea floor. Some pieces are almost too small to see. Others gather together into soft, pale flakes. To a deep sea animal, this slow snowfall can be an important source of food. The twilight zone contains an enormous number of fish. Many are small enough to fit in the palm of a hand. Lanternfish are among the most common vertebrates on the planet. They are named for the glowing organs arranged along their bodies. These light-producing organs are called photophores. Lanternfish use their light in several possible ways. It may help them recognize one another in the darkness. It may also make them more difficult for predators to see. A faint glow beneath the body can match the dim light coming from above. This creates a form of camouflage called counterillumination. Instead of hiding in the shadow, the fish hides by producing light. Every evening, countless twilight zone animals rise toward the surface. They travel upward to feed in waters rich with plankton. Before daylight returns, they descend again into the darkness. This daily journey is called vertical migration. It may be the largest movement of animals on Earth. Billions of small creatures take part in it every night. The migration happens quietly, far beneath passing ships. It also moves nutrients and carbon through different layers of the ocean. As animals feed near the surface and return to deeper water, they carry material downward. In this way, even a tiny fish can influence the chemistry of the planet. The deeper we travel, the greater the pressure becomes. Water has weight, just as air does. At sea level, the atmosphere presses gently against every part of your body. Underwater, the weight of the water above adds even more pressure. For roughly every 10 meters of descent, pressure increases by about 1 atmosphere. At 1,000 meters, the pressure is around 100 times greater than at the surface. Deep-sea animals are specially adapted to these conditions. Many have soft bodies without large internal air spaces. air-filled spaces would be difficult to maintain under such powerful pressure. Some deep animals contain unusual molecules that help their proteins function. These molecules prevent delicate biological structures from being distorted by pressure. Humans need strong vehicles to visit such depths. A deep-diving submersible must protect its passengers inside a reinforced chamber. The chamber is often shaped like a sphere. A sphere distributes pressure more evenly than many other shapes. Outside the vessel, the water presses inward from every direction. Inside, the passengers remain surrounded by air at a comfortable pressure. At about 1,000 meters, sunlight has almost completely disappeared. We are entering the midnight zone. Scientists call this the bathypelagic zone. No plants grow here using sunlight. The water remains dark throughout the day and night, yet the darkness is not always empty. A large percentage of deep-sea animals can produce their own light. This natural light is known as bioluminescence. It is created by chemical reactions inside living organisms. Some deep-sea creatures glow continuously. Others create brief flashes when they are disturbed. A sudden flash may surprise a predator. It may also attract a larger animal that could attack the original predator. Some creatures release glowing material into the water. The bright cloud can confuse an attacker, while the animal escapes. The light is usually blue or blue-green. These colors travel efficiently through seawater. Red bioluminescence is much less common. A few deep-sea fish can produce red light and detect it with specially adapted eyes. To many other animals, that red beam is invisible. The fish can illuminate its surroundings without easily revealing its position. The midnight zone may seem silent, but sound travels very well underwater. Whales can communicate across great distances. Their low calls pass through layers of water, far beyond the range of human voices. Some deep-sea animals also sense tiny vibrations and pressure changes. In complete darkness, movement itself becomes a form of information. A ripple in the water may reveal nearby prey. A faint vibration may warn that a larger animal is approaching. Many deep-sea fish have large eyes. Large eyes can collect the smallest traces of available light. Other species have very small eyes or no functional eyes at all. For them, vision provides little advantage. They rely instead on smell, touch, vibration, or electrical signals. The deep ocean rewards many different solutions to the same problem. There is no single perfect way to live in darkness. Some animals become nearly transparent. Others are dark red, brown, or black. At great depths, red coloration appears almost completely black. It allows an animal to disappear without producing black pigment. The giant squid spends much of its life in deep water. Despite its famous size, it remains difficult to observe alive. Much of what scientists know came first from individuals found at the surface. Its enormous eyes can be larger than dinner plates. These eyes may help detect large shapes moving through faint blue light. They may also help the squid notice glowing organisms disturbed by an approaching predator. Far below us, the ocean continues for several more kilometers. The darkness goes deeper, but life does not disappear. Every layer contains animals shaped by patience, pressure, and time. For now, you can imagine yourself floating safely in the quiet water. The surface is far above, and the seafloor is still far below. Around you, tiny points of living light appear and fade. They glow for only a moment, like slow stars beneath the sea. And as we continue our gentle descent, the deep ocean waits peacefully below. As we continue downward, the last traces of the surface world seem very far away. Above us are kilometers, of dark water. Below us, the ocean still reaches deeper. The temperature here remains cold throughout the year. In many parts of the deep ocean, the water is only a few degrees above freezing. There are no seasons in the ordinary sense. No summer sunlight warms the water. No winter wind chills it. The deep sea changes slowly. Its environment may remain almost the same for centuries. This stability can be comforting. Yet it also means that many deep-sea animals are adapted to a very narrow range of conditions. A small change in temperature, oxygen, or water chemistry may affect them more than it would affect animals near the surface. Between roughly 1,000 and 4,000 meters lies the midnight zone. It is one of the largest habitats on Earth. Although people rarely see it, this dark region contains an enormous volume of living space. There are no trees, mountains, or clouds here. Instead, the landscape is made of open water. Animals may spend their entire lives without touching the seafloor. Some drift almost effortlessly. Others swim only when necessary. Moving through water requires energy. In the deep sea, food can be difficult to find. For this reason, many animals conserve energy whenever possible. They may grow slowly. They may move slowly. Their bodies may be soft and light. Some deep-sea fish have reduced muscles and fragile skeletons. They do not need to fight strong waves. They do not need to support their weight against gravity in the same way land animals do. The surrounding water holds them gently. One of the most famous deep-sea animals is the anglerfish. There are many different species of anglerfish. Not all of them live in the deepest parts of the ocean, but several are adapted to permanent darkness. Many female deep-sea anglerfish carry a glowing lure above or in front of the mouth. The lure is a modified part of the dorsal fin. It may contain bacteria that produce light. In the darkness, the glow attracts curious prey. The fish waits with very little movement. When another animal comes close enough, the anglerfish opens its mouth quickly. Its jaws and stomach can expand. This allows it to swallow prey that may seem surprisingly large. In an environment where meals are uncertain, refusing a large opportunity could be costly. Deep-sea animals often have long teeth. These teeth may look frightening to human eyes, but in the darkness, they are simply useful tools. A fish may encounter very few potential meals. Long, curved teeth help prevent prey from escaping once it has been caught. The fang-toothed fish has some of the largest teeth in proportion to body size of any fish. Despite its appearance, it is not a giant. Most fang-toothed fish are small enough to be held in two hands. Their dark bodies help them disappear in the water. Their large heads and teeth are adaptations to a life where food arrives unpredictably. The viperfish is another deep water hunter. It has needle-like teeth and a flexible body. Some species possess a glowing organ near the eye. This light may help them locate prey. Like many deep-sea animals, viperfish often move upward at night and return to deeper water before sunrise. Not every deep-sea creature is a hunter. Many survive by eating marine snow. Others feed on jelly-like animals, tiny crustaceans, or drifting organic matter. Some animals wait for the remains of larger creatures to sink from above. When the body of a whale reaches the seafloor, it can create an entire temporary ecosystem. This event is called a whale fall. A whale's body contains an enormous amount of stored energy. In the deep sea, where food is often scarce, that energy becomes valuable to many organisms. Large scavengers may arrive first. Sharks, hagfish, and other animals remove soft tissues. Later, smaller creatures feed on the remaining material. Eventually, bacteria and specialized organisms break down fats stored inside the bones. A whale skeleton may support life for decades. Different communities appear during different stages of decomposition. One fallen animal becomes a small island of food in the darkness. Scientists have discovered species near whale falls that were previously unknown. Some worms are especially unusual. Bone-eating worms, sometimes called zombie worms, do not have mouths in the ordinary sense. They grow root-like tissues into whale bones. Bacteria living inside their bodies help release nutrients from the bones. These worms demonstrate how life can adapt to a very specific and temporary habitat. Wood can also create a deep-sea oasis. When trees fall into rivers and are carried to the ocean, pieces of wood may eventually sink. On the seafloor, sunken wood provides food and shelter. Certain clams and bacteria can digest parts of the wood. Small animals gather around it. Even material from a distant forest may support life in the deep ocean. This creates a quiet connection between land and sea. Leaves, branches, dust, and organic particles all travel downward. The deep ocean receives traces of life from nearly every part of the planet. Some particles sink quickly. Others remain suspended for years. Ocean currents carry them over enormous distances. The water itself is always moving, though it may appear completely still. Deep currents are driven by differences in temperature and salinity. Cold, salty water is dense. In certain regions near the poles, it sinks and begins a long journey through the global ocean. This movement is part of the ocean's large-scale circulation. A parcel of deep water may travel for hundreds or even thousands of years before returning to the surface. The water surrounding a deep-sea fish may have last touched the atmosphere before many modern cities existed. Deep ocean circulation carries oxygen into the darkness. It also transports heat, nutrients, and dissolved carbon. The ocean stores a large amount of the planet's heat. It absorbs carbon dioxide from the atmosphere as well. Some of that carbon is carried into deeper layers. Test. Marine organisms also help move carbon downward. Tiny plants near the surface absorb carbon while growing. When they are eaten, die, or release waste, some of that material sinks. This process is often called the biological carbon pump. It helps regulate Earth's climate. The smallest organisms can influence the entire atmosphere. At these depths, pressure continues to increase. Every surface of an animal's body experiences the surrounding force. Yet the animal is not crushed because pressure exists inside its tissues as well. Problems arise mainly when there are gas-filled spaces. Human lungs contain air. A submarine contains air. These spaces require strong protection as pressure rises. Most deep-sea animals contain very little gas. Some fish near the surface use a swim bladder to control buoyancy. A swim bladder is an internal sac filled with gas. Many deep-sea fish have reduced swim bladders, or none at all. Instead, they may use oils, soft tissues, or carefully balanced body density to remain suspended. Buoyancy is the tendency to rise or sink in a fluid. An animal with neutral buoyancy neither rises nor falls quickly. It can remain in place with very little effort. This is valuable in a habitat where conserving energy matters. Some jelly-like animals are made mostly of water. Their bodies have nearly the same density as the surrounding sea. They float without needing strong muscles or heavy skeletons. The giant larvation is one such drifting animal. It creates a large mucus structure around its small body. This delicate structure acts like a filter. As water passes through, food particles become trapped. When the filter becomes clogged, the larvation abandons it. The discarded structure sinks and carries carbon toward deeper water. Fragile mucus houses may not seem important, yet in large numbers, they contribute to the movement of material through the ocean. The deep sea is filled with processes that are easy to overlook. A tiny animal feeds, a transparent body drifts, a soft structure sinks. Together, these small events shape ocean chemistry. Some deep-sea creatures appear to hover like ghosts. Their tissues are clear, pale, or gently glowing. Transparency makes sense in open water. There are few rocks or plants to hide behind. An animal that allows light to pass through its body becomes difficult to see. But complete transparency is challenging. Eyes and digestive organs often contain pigments. For this reason, many transparent animals have small, compact organs or reflective surfaces that reduce visibility. The glass squid is partly transparent. Its body can be difficult to detect in dim water. Some species hold their arms close to the body and point downward. Others use light-producing organs to reduce their silhouette. Deep-sea shrimp may also be transparent. Some release glowing clouds when threatened. The cloud remains behind like a bright distraction. While a predator investigates the light, the shrimp moves away into darkness. Even defense can be quiet and beautiful here. There are flashes rather than battles, clouds of blue light rather than clouds of dust. Then the water becomes dark again. As we drift lower, the number of visible creatures may seem to decrease, but the darkness hides more than our eyes can notice. Small animals pass at the edge of perception. Faint lights blink and vanish. A soft-bodied fish turns slowly and disappears. Nothing moves quickly unless it must. The deep ocean follows a different rhythm. It is a world of patience, a world where a meal may arrive after days of waiting, a world where water may travel for centuries, a world where even a falling fragment can become important. You can imagine yourself floating safely through this silent space. There is no weight to carry, no distance you need to measure. The water supports everything around you. Far above, the surface continues its restless motion. Waves rise and fall. Wind crosses the sea, but here, the ocean remains calm. The darkness is wide and gentle, and below us, the deep sea floor is slowly drawing closer. As we continue our descent, the open water slowly begins to feel different. For a long time, there was nothing below us but darkness. Now, far beneath, the seafloor is beginning to take shape. It does not appear suddenly. At first, it is only a faint suggestion, a darker shade within the darkness. Then, as we move lower, the bottom becomes clearer. We are approaching the abyssal zone. The word abyss comes from an ancient idea of a place without a bottom. But the deep ocean does have a floor. It is simply much farther down than most people ever imagine. The abyssal zone generally begins at around 4,000 meters. In many regions, it extends to about 6,000 meters below the surface. This is deeper than the height of many mountains. If a mountain were placed here, much of it might still remain underwater. The pressure at these depths is immense, yet the seafloor is not empty. It is covered by sediment that has accumulated over very long periods of time. Some of this sediment comes from the remains of tiny organisms. Some comes from dust carried by the wind. Some comes from volcanic ash. Some comes from rivers and distant continents. Particles settle slowly through the water. They may take days, months, or even years to reach the bottom. Once they arrive, they become part of the ocean floor. In places far from land, sediment can build up extremely slowly. A single centimeter may represent thousands of years. The surface beneath us is therefore a kind of archive. Layer by layer, it records changes in the ocean and atmosphere. Scientists collect long cylinders of sediment called cores. These cores contain traces of ancient climates. They may reveal periods of warming and cooling. They may contain microscopic shells from organisms that lived thousands or millions of years ago. The chemistry of these shells can provide clues about past temperatures. The seafloor is quiet, but it remembers. It remembers the movement of dust, the growth of plankton, the eruption of volcanoes, the changing chemistry of seawater. The deep ocean floor may look flat from a distance, but it contains many subtle features. There are low ridges, shallow channels, soft hills of sediment. There are tracks made by animals moving slowly across the bottom. Some paths remain visible for years. In the deep sea, there are few storms to erase them. Near the surface, waves and currents constantly reshape sand. Here, change happens much more slowly. A mark in the mud may remain long after the animal has moved away. The abyssal plain is one of the flattest large landscapes on Earth. Sediment gradually fills valleys and covers rough volcanic rock. Over time, the seafloor becomes smoother. Yet beneath the soft sediment lies an older, harder surface. Most oceanic crust is made from basalt. Basalt forms when molten rock cools. New ocean crust is created along long underwater mountain ranges, called mid-ocean ridges. These ridges stretch through the world's oceans for tens of thousands of kilometers. They form one of the largest connected mountain systems on the planet. At the center of many ridges, tectonic plates move slowly apart. Magma rises from below and cools into new rock. The process is called seafloor spreading. New crust forms at the ridge. Older crust moves gradually away. This movement is slow. In some places, the plates separate only a few centimeters each year. That is similar to the speed at which fingernails grow. Yet over millions of years, a few centimeters become entire ocean basins. The seafloor is always being created and recycled. In other regions, old ocean crust bends downward beneath another tectonic plate. This process is called subduction. Subduction zones are often associated with deep ocean trenches. They can also be linked with earthquakes and volcanic activity. The solid surface of Earth may seem permanent, but on geological timescales, it is always moving. Continents drift, oceans open and close, mountain ranges rise and erode. The deep sea floor carries evidence of this movement. As we float above the abyssal plain, the sediment below appears pale and soft. There are no grasses, no trees, no bright coral reefs. Still, animals live here. Some remain buried beneath the mud, others move slowly across the surface. Sea cucumbers are common residents of the deep sea floor. They are relatives of starfish and sea urchins. Many have soft, elongated bodies. Some look almost transparent. Others are dark, pale, or purple. They feed by taking in sediment. Organic particles are separated and digested. The remaining material passes through the body and returns to the seafloor. In this way, sea cucumbers constantly process the sediment. They help mix the upper layers of the ocean floor. This mixing is called bioturbation. Worms, crustaceans, mollusks, and many other animals also contribute. Their movements bring oxygen into the sediment. They redistribute nutrients. A surface that appears still is quietly being worked from within. Brittle stars may also be found across the deep sea floor. They have a small central body and long, flexible arms. Unlike ordinary starfish, brittle stars move mainly by using their arms. They can crawl across the sediment with delicate, rowing motions. Some raise their arms into the water to catch drifting particles. Others search the mud for food. Their movements leave fine patterns behind them. Deep-sea starfish may feed on small animals, organic matter, or anything edible they encounter. At these depths, food is often too valuable to waste. Many animals are opportunistic. They eat what becomes available: a dead fish, a cluster of eggs, or a sudden fall of organic material may attract creatures from a wide area. The grenadier is one fish often found near the deep sea floor. It has a large head and a long body that narrows into a thin tail. Grenadiers swim just above the bottom. They search for crustaceans, worms, small fish, and other food. Their sense of smell can be highly developed. In darkness, scent may travel farther than sight. A faint chemical signal can reveal that food is nearby. Some deep-sea animals are able to detect incredibly small concentrations of chemicals in the water. The seafloor contains countless microscopic organisms as well. Bacteria live within sediment and on the surfaces of rocks. Many break down organic matter. Some use chemical reactions that do not require sunlight. Microbial life forms the foundation of many deep-sea processes, and it recycles nutrients. It changes the chemistry of sediment. It supports larger organisms indirectly. Even where animal life seems sparse, microbial activity may be constant. The sediment beneath us may contain more living cells than the water above it. They are too small to see, but together they form a hidden world. Some microbes live several meters beneath the sea floor. Others have been found much deeper in marine sediments. They survive with very little energy. Their metabolism may be extremely slow. A single cell division may take years. Life in such conditions follows a pace very different from life near the surface. There is no need for rapid growth when resources arrive slowly. Time itself seems stretched. The deep biosphere is the name given to life beneath Earth's surface. It includes organisms living under the seafloor. Scientists are still learning how extensive this hidden ecosystem may be. It could contain a significant portion of Earth's microbial life. The deeper the sediment, the older the material surrounding these organisms. Some cells exist in deposits formed before human civilization began. Their world is dark, cold, compressed, and nearly motionless, yet they continue to survive. Above the sediment, small creatures rise and settle. Amphipods move across the bottom. They are crustaceans related to shrimp. Some species are tiny. Others, especially in very deep water, can grow surprisingly large. Many are scavengers. They gather around fallen food. Deep-sea cameras have recorded amphipods arriving quickly when bait is placed on the seafloor. The darkness may seem empty, but scent spreads through the water. Animals detect it and approach from places beyond the camera's view. Some deep-sea isopods resemble oversized versions of familiar woodlice. They have broad, armored bodies and many legs. Their appearance may seem ancient. In a sense, it is. Their body plan has changed relatively little over long periods of evolutionary time. Giant isopods live on or near the seafloor. They feed on dead animals and other available food. Because meals may be rare, they can survive long periods without eating. When food is found, they may consume a large amount at once. The deep sea often rewards patience and flexibility. An animal must be ready to wait. It must also be ready to feed when opportunity arises. Some creatures create burrows in the sediment. These burrows provide shelter. They also create small tunnels where water can circulate. The walls of a burrow may support different microbes from the surrounding sediment. A single animal can therefore create a miniature habitat. This is called ecosystem engineering. Beavers do it by building dams. Corals do it by creating reefs. Deep-sea burrowing animals do it on a much smaller scale. Their tunnels change the physical and chemical environment. Even the smallest movement can shape the community around it. Across the abyssal plain, there may also be dark, rounded objects resting in the mud. These are called manganese nodules. They form extremely slowly. Layers of minerals build around a small central object. The center may be a fragment of shell, a piece of rock, or even a tiny shark tooth. Over millions of years, dissolved metals gather on the surface. The nodule grows layer by layer. Some increase by only a few millimeters every million years. They are among the slowest growing geological objects on Earth. Manganese nodules may contain manganese, iron, nickel, cobalt, and other metals. They have attracted interest because of their mineral content, but they are also part of the deep-sea habitat. Small animals attach to them. Microbes live on their surfaces. They provide hard ground in an environment dominated by soft mud. Removing them could alter ecosystems that develop over extremely long timescales. A nodule destroyed today would not regrow within a human lifetime. It might not regrow within the lifetime of any civilization. The deep sea teaches us that not all natural systems recover quickly. Some are shaped over millions of years. Their stillness can create the illusion that nothing is changing, but change is happening. It is simply happening very slowly. As we drift above the seafloor, a soft cloud of sediment rises beneath us. It spreads gently and then begins to settle. Each particle falls back into place. The bottom becomes clear again. In the distance, a sea cucumber moves with almost invisible slowness. A brittle star extends its arms. A small fish passes close to the mud and disappears. There is life everywhere, but little urgency. No sunrise will reach this place. No storm will cross it. No leaf will open toward the light. Instead, the abyssal plain follows a quiet rhythm of falling particles, slow movement, and patient survival. You can imagine resting here without touching the bottom, floating a short distance above the ancient sediment. The water around you is cold, but you are safe and warm. The darkness is complete, but it is not threatening. It is simply the natural darkness of a place far from the sun. Above us, the ocean stretches upward through layer after layer. Below us, the sea floor holds stories written in dust, shells, minerals, and time. And farther ahead, beyond the flat plain, the landscape begins to change again. The ground slopes downward. The darkness deepens. We are slowly approaching one of the most extreme environments on Earth, a deep ocean trench. The seafloor beneath us is no longer flat. It begins to slope downward. At first, the change is gentle. Then the descent becomes steeper. We are approaching a deep ocean trench. Trenches form where one tectonic plate bends beneath another. They are long, narrow depressions in the seafloor. Some stretch for thousands of kilometers. From above, they may resemble dark scars across the ocean basin, but from within, they are immense landscapes. Their walls rise like submerged mountain ranges. Their floors lie deeper than most places on Earth. The deepest known trenches reach more than 10,000 meters below sea level. At such depths, the pressure is more than 1,000 times greater than at the surface. Still, life continues. The region below about 6,000 meters is called the Hadal Zone. The name comes from Hades, the ancient Greek underworld. It is an appropriate name for a place so deep and permanently dark. But the Hadal Zone is not lifeless. It contains specialized communities found nowhere else. Many trench animals are isolated from populations in other parts of the ocean. A steep trench wall can act like a barrier. One trench may contain species that do not live in the next trench. Each deep depression can become its own quiet biological world. As we move downward, the water remains close to freezing. The pressure rises steadily. Every molecule inside a living cell must continue functioning under this force. Proteins must keep their shape. Cell membranes must remain flexible. Chemical reactions must continue at the right speed. Hadal animals possess adaptations that allow this to happen. Their cells contain compounds that help stabilize proteins. Their cells. One important compound is called trimethylamine oxide. It is often shortened to TMAO. Many marine animals use TMAO in their tissues. In deep-sea fish, its concentration generally increases with depth. It helps protect proteins from the effects of pressure. TMAO is also associated with the familiar smell of marine fish after they are caught. In a living deep-sea animal, however, it serves a quiet and essential purpose. There appears to be a limit to how much TMAO a fish can use. This may help explain why fish are not found at the very greatest ocean depths. Below a certain point, the amount required to protect proteins could interfere with other biological processes. Other animals, especially invertebrates, can survive deeper. Amphipods are among the most common trench residents. They can be found in some of the deepest known waters. These small crustaceans move across the trench floor and through the water just above it. Many feed on organic material that sinks from shallower zones. Food arriving in a trench may become concentrated by the shape of the landscape. Sloping walls guide sediment and organic matter downward. In this way, a trench can collect material from a wide surrounding area. Although it is extremely deep, parts of the trench floor may receive more food than nearby abyssal plains. This does not make life easy, but it creates pockets of opportunity. When an animal dies far above, its remains begin a long descent. Currents move the body sideways. Scavengers may remove parts of it along the way. Eventually, fragments reach the trench. There, they may attract amphipods and other animals very quickly. Deep-sea landers are scientific instruments designed to descend without cables. They carry cameras, sensors, and sometimes bait. When a lander reaches the bottom, it can record animals gathering around it. In Hadal trenches, swarms of amphipods may appear from the darkness. They seem to arrive from nowhere, but they have detected chemical signals spreading through the water. Their world is dark, but it is not without information. Scent becomes a map. Vibration becomes a warning. Pressure changes become signs of movement. The Hadal snailfish is one of the best known trench fishes. Different species live in different trenches. They do not resemble the heavily armored creatures people might imagine. Their bodies are soft and pale. They have thin skin and gelatinous tissues. Their bones are lightly mineralized. This delicate form is well suited to extreme pressure. Hard, air-filled structures would be more difficult to maintain. The snailfish does not resist the surrounding water. Its body is built to exist within it. Some Hadal snailfish feed on amphipods. They move slowly above the seafloor, searching for prey. Their mouths contain small teeth. Their bodies may look fragile, but they are perfectly adapted to their environment. If brought rapidly to the surface, they can be damaged by the enormous change in pressure and temperature. A creature suited to the trench is not designed for the world above. The same is true in reverse. Humans require specialized machines to enter its world. The most famous trench is the Mariana Trench in the western Pacific Ocean. Its deepest known region is called the Challenger Deep. Measurements of its exact depth vary because the seafloor is complex, and measuring such distances is difficult. It is generally estimated to be close to 11 kilometers deep. If Mount Everest were placed at the bottom, its summit would still remain underwater. Yet this comparison can be difficult to imagine. Perhaps it is simpler to think of distance. A small object dropped from a ship would take a very long time to reach the bottom. It would pass through sunlight, twilight, midnight, abyss, and finally the Hadal Zone. During its descent, the surrounding pressure would increase continuously. The temperature would fall. The colors would disappear. The surface would become unreachable without assistance. Only a small number of people have visited the deepest parts of the ocean. More people have walked on the moon than have personally reached some of these trenches. The first crewed descent to Challenger Deep took place in 1960. The vessel was called Trieste. It carried Jacques Piccard and Don Walsh. They descended inside a small pressure sphere. Above the sphere was a large float filled with gasoline. Gasoline is lighter than water and does not compress as much as air. This helped the vessel remain buoyant. Iron pellets were used as ballast. To rise again, the crew released the heavy pellets. The descent took several hours. At the bottom, disturbed sediment reduced visibility. The explorers stayed only a short time before beginning the long ascent. Their journey showed that humans could reach the deepest known ocean, but it also revealed how difficult such exploration would be. Modern deep diving vehicles use advanced materials, improved cameras, and precise instruments. Some are crude. Others are remotely operated or completely autonomous. They map the seafloor with sonar. They collect water, sediment, and biological samples. They measure temperature, salinity, and chemical conditions. Every expedition reveals details that were previously unknown. A trench may appear empty on a map, but close observation shows slopes, channels, ridges, and small basins. Underwater landslides occur along trench walls. Sediment can suddenly move downhill in powerful flows. These events are called turbidity currents. A turbidity current is a dense mixture of water and suspended sediment. It travels downslope under gravity. It can move surprisingly fast. Such currents carve channels into the seafloor. They transport material into deeper regions. They may also damage underwater cables. Most of the time, however, the trench remains still. Long periods of calm separate sudden geological events. Sediment settles. Animals return. Iron tracks appear again across the bottom. Earthquakes are common near many subduction zones. When one tectonic plate becomes locked against another, stress can build over time. If the plates suddenly shift, the released energy travels through Earth as seismic waves. Under certain conditions, movement of the seafloor can displace a large volume of water. This can generate a tsunami. In deep water, a tsunami may be difficult to notice from a ship. Its wave height can be small, while its wavelength is enormous. As it approaches shallow coastal water, the wave slows and grows taller. The deep ocean is therefore connected to distant shores. A movement far below can affect communities thousands of kilometers away. Yet down here, between such events, everything appears peaceful. The trench floor receives no sunlight. There are no breaking waves. There is no rain. The water is almost perfectly dark. Bioluminescence may still appear. A small animal flashes blue. Another releases a brief glow. Then darkness returns. Some trench organisms are microscopic. Bacteria and archaea live in sediment. They survive on organic matter and chemical energy. Some tolerate pressures that would damage ordinary laboratory organisms. Scientists study these microbes to understand the limits of life. They may also offer clues about life in other extreme environments. Moons, such as Europa and Enceladus, may contain oceans beneath layers of ice. Those oceans would be dark and under pressure, although conditions that would not be identical to Earth's trenches. Deep-sea research helps scientists imagine what kinds of life might be possible. The Hadal Zone is therefore both an earthly habitat and a window into larger questions. How much pressure can life tolerate? How little energy does it need? How long can cells remain active in darkness? How many different ways can biology adapt? There are no final answers yet. Much of the deep ocean remains unexplored. Each sample contains possibilities. A single scoop of sediment may hold species that have never been described. A camera may record an animal no one has seen alive before. A chemical sensor may detect an unexpected process. Deep-sea discovery often happens quietly. There may be no dramatic moment, only a faint shape moving across a screen, a tiny organism under a microscope, a pattern in a set of measurements. Then, slowly, a new understanding begins. Human objects have also reached the deepest trenches. Plastic has been found in Hadal environments. Synthetic fibers and other pollutants can travel far from their sources. Material discarded near the surface may eventually sink thousands of meters. Ocean currents carry it. Animals may consume it. Sediment may bury it. Even the most remote environments are connected to human activity. The deep sea can feel separate from everyday life, but it is part of the same planet. Water circulates, carbon moves, pollution spreads. The trench is distant but not isolated. Some organic pollutants attach to particles and sink. Others accumulate in animal tissues. The long lifespan and slow growth of deep-sea organisms may make recovery especially difficult. A population damaged in a few years could take decades or longer to return. Scientists therefore study not only what lives in trenches, but also how vulnerable those communities may be. Protection is challenging because these places are difficult to observe. What cannot easily be seen can easily be forgotten. But darkness does not make an ecosystem unimportant. The trench stores carbon. It processes organic material. It contains unique evolutionary history. It is part of the living ocean. As we continue downward, the walls rise high on either side. They are invisible beyond the reach of our imagined light. The floor is covered in soft sediment. A pale snailfish drifts close to the bottom. Several amphipods move beneath it. Their bodies cast tiny shadows. A thin trail marks the mud where another animal passed. Nothing here seems rushed. Life continues through careful movements and efficient choices. Every motion costs energy. Every meal matters. Every adaptation carries the memory of countless generations. We can imagine remaining here for a while, safely suspended above the trench floor. The pressure outside is immense, but our quiet vessel holds steady. The darkness presses against the windows, yet inside there is calm. A few instruments glow softly. Their light reveals only a small circle of seafloor. Beyond that circle, the trench extends into silence. There is something peaceful about not seeing everything. The hidden landscape does not need to be fully known. It can simply exist, deep below storms, ships, cities, and clouds. The trench remains in darkness. Sediment falls. Water moves slowly. Animals search, feed, and rest. And far beneath the bright surface of the world, life continues in one of Earth's deepest and quietest places. Far beyond the deepest trench, the ocean floor rises again. The landscape becomes rougher. Dark ridges and broken rock begin to replace the soft sediment. We are moving toward a part of the sea floor where Earth's crust is slowly pulling apart. Along these underwater ridges, heat from inside the planet reaches close to the ocean. Cold seawater enters cracks in the rock. It travels downward through the crust. As it descends, the water becomes heated by nearby magma. It reacts with minerals in the surrounding rock. Then it rises again. When the hot, mineral-rich water returns to the sea floor, it escapes through openings called hydrothermal vents. The water leaving a vent can be extremely hot. In some places, its temperature exceeds 300 degrees Celsius. At the surface, water at this temperature would quickly become steam, but the pressure in the deep ocean is so great that the water remains liquid. The hot vent fluid meets the cold seawater around it. Minerals begin to solidify. They form clouds of dark particles. This is why some vents are known as black smokers. The dark plume may look like smoke, but it is not made of ash. It is filled with tiny mineral particles. Over time, these minerals build tall chimney-like structures. Some chimneys grow several stories high. They form slowly around the rising fluid. The walls may contain iron, sulfur, copper, zinc, and other elements. The shape of a vent chimney can change over time. New openings appear. Old channels become blocked. Parts of the structure may collapse. Then, fresh mineral deposits begin growing again. The vent field is always changing. It is built and rebuilt by heat, water, and chemistry. The surrounding ocean is close to freezing. The fluid leaving the vent is extremely hot. Between these two conditions lies a complex pattern of temperatures. Some animals live near the hot flow. Others remain farther away in cooler water. A distance of only a few centimeters can create a large change in temperature. The vent ecosystem is therefore made of many small zones. Each zone supports different forms of life. What makes these ecosystems especially remarkable is their source of energy. Most life near Earth's surface ultimately depends on sunlight. Plants and microscopic algae capture solar energy through photosynthesis. Animals eat those organisms or eat other animals that have eaten them. At hydrothermal vents, sunlight never arrives. The seafloor may lie thousands of meters below the surface, yet dense communities thrive here. Their energy comes from chemical reactions. This process is called chemosynthesis. Certain bacteria and archaea use chemicals released by the vents. Hydrogen sulfide is one important example. To humans, hydrogen sulfide is toxic. It has a strong smell at low concentrations, but some microbes can use it as a source of energy. They combine it with oxygen or other chemicals. The energy released supports their growth. These microbes form the base of the vent food web. Some live freely on rocks and in the water. Others live inside animals. One of the most famous vent animals is the giant tube worm. A giant tube worm can grow more than 2 meters long. It has a white tube and a bright red plume. The red plume extends into the water. It absorbs oxygen, carbon dioxide, and hydrogen sulfide. The worm has no mouth. It has no stomach. It has no ordinary digestive system. Instead, much of its body contains an organ filled with symbiotic bacteria. These bacteria use chemicals from the vent to produce food. The worm provides them with a protected place to live. It also delivers the substances they need. The bacteria, in return, nourish the worm. This partnership allows both organisms to survive. The relationship is called symbiosis. In this case, both partners benefit. The tube worm depends so completely on its bacteria that it does not need to feed in the ordinary way. Its body is built around this hidden internal community. The bright red color of the plume comes from hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is a molecule that carries oxygen. In tube worms, it can also help carry hydrogen sulfide. This is unusual because hydrogen sulfide can interfere with ordinary forms of hemoglobin. The worm's blood has evolved to transport both substances safely. Its circulation system delivers them to the bacteria. Inside the worm, chemistry becomes food. Life continues without a single ray of sunlight. Tube worms often grow in dense clusters. Their white tubes rise from the seafloor like a forest. The red plumes wave gently in the water. Small animals live between them. Crabs climb across the tubes. Snails graze on bacteria. Shrimp gather near warm fluid. The vent community can be crowded and active. This is very different from the wide, sparsely populated abyssal plain. A hydrothermal vent is like an oasis. Energy is concentrated in one place. Life responds quickly. Some vent shrimp have reduced eyes. Instead of ordinary vision, they possess light-sensitive organs on their backs. These organs may help detect the faint glow produced by extremely hot vent fluid. The glow is not like a flame. It is very dim, but in complete darkness. Even a small amount of light may be useful. The shrimp gather close to the vent. They feed on bacteria growing on their bodies or on nearby surfaces. Some species cultivate bacterial communities on specialized mouthparts. The animal provides access to chemical-rich water. The bacteria provide nutrition. Again, partnership replaces ordinary feeding. Vent crabs may also carry bacteria. Some species have hairy claws or limbs covered in microbial growth. They wave these appendages through the water. This may expose the bacteria to oxygen and vent chemicals. The crabs then scrape off and eat some of the growth. They are sometimes described as farming bacteria. The farm is small. It grows directly on the animal's body, yet the basic idea is familiar. A living creature maintains another organism as a food source. Mussels are common at many vent sites. They attach to rocks using strong threads. Like tube worms, some vent mussels contain symbiotic bacteria. The bacteria live inside their gills. They use chemicals from the surrounding water. The mussels receive nutrients produced by the microbes. Some vent mussels can also filter ordinary particles from the water. This gives them more than one way to survive. Flexibility can be valuable because vent conditions may change suddenly. A vent can become less active. A mineral chimney can collapse. The flow of chemicals can move elsewhere. An animal that depends on one exact location may lose its source of energy. Hydrothermal vents are temporary on geological timescales. A vent field may remain active for years, decades, or centuries. Then the underground pathways change. The flow weakens. A chimney's cool. The chemical supply disappears. When this happens, the dense community begins to decline. Tube worms die. Bacteria lose their energy source. Scavengers arrive. The once active vent becomes a quiet mineral structure. Elsewhere along the ridge, a new vent may appear. Life must find it. This creates an important question. How do vent animals travel between isolated vent fields? The adults may remain attached to one place, but many release tiny larvae into the water. The larvae drift with currents. They may travel long distances before settling. Most will not find a suitable vent, but a few may reach a new source of warm, chemical-rich water. Those survivors begin another population. The journey may take weeks or months. The larvae are small and fragile, yet they connect distant ecosystems across the seafloor. Each species has its own range. Some are found at vents separated by hundreds of kilometers. Others live only in one region. Mid-ocean ridges are divided by barriers, currents, and geological history. The vent communities of the Atlantic differ from those of the Pacific. Even nearby sites can contain different species. The deep ocean is connected, but not uniform. Its populations follow invisible routes through dark water. Hydrothermal vents were discovered in the late 1970s. Before then, many scientists did not expect such rich ecosystems in the deep sea. The first observations transformed ideas about where life could exist. They showed that sunlight was not the only possible foundation for a complex food web. Chemical energy could support entire communities. This discovery also changed thinking about the early history of life. Some scientists have proposed that life may have begun near ancient hydrothermal systems. Vents provide heat, minerals, chemical gradients, and protected spaces inside rocks. These conditions can support many chemical reactions. The exact origin of life remains unknown, but vent environments offer one possible setting. Modern vents allow scientists to study chemistry that may resemble processes from early Earth. There are different kinds of hydrothermal vents. Not all produce dark plumes. White smokers release lighter colored minerals. Their fluids may be cooler than those of black smokers. Other hydrothermal systems form tall, pale structures, rich in carbonate minerals. One famous area is called the Lost City Hydrothermal Field. Its towers are lighter in color than typical black smokers. Doughy war, some rise high above the seafloor. The fluids there are produced through reactions between seawater and certain rocks in Earth's mantle. This process can generate hydrogen. Microbes may use that hydrogen as an energy source. The Lost City system is not powered in exactly the same way as volcanic black smokers. Its chemistry is different. Its structures may remain active for a very long time. The towers look almost architectural. Pale columns rise from the darkness. Warm fluid flows through small openings. Microbes live within the rock. The scene feels both geological and alive. At many vent sites, microorganisms exist beneath the visible seafloor. They inhabit cracks and pores in the crust. The warm rock provides chemical energy. Water circulates through their hidden habitat. This underground biosphere may be extensive. Much of it cannot be seen by cameras. Scientists study samples of rock and fluid to detect the organisms living there. The visible vent community is only the surface expression of a deeper system. Life may continue far below the chimney walls. The vents also influence ocean chemistry. They release dissolved minerals and gases. Some materials quickly settle near the vent. Others are carried away in plumes. These plumes can travel for long distances. Microbes grow within them. Chemical reactions continue as the fluid mixes with seawater. Tiny mineral particles may remain suspended. Instruments can detect the plume long before a vent is seen. Scientists sometimes search for vents by measuring changes in temperature, particles, or chemical concentrations. They follow these subtle signals through the darkness. A sensor detects a small increase. A water sample contains an unusual mineral. The concentration grows stronger. Then, eventually, the vehicle reaches the source. A chimney appears through the darkness. Around it, animals crowd the rocks. The discovery can feel sudden, but the clues were present in the water. Hydrothermal vents can also host organisms adapted to heat. Some microbes grow best at temperatures that would kill most life. They are called thermophiles. Others prefer even more extreme heat. These are known as hyperthermophiles. They live in very hot environments, often below the seafloor where vent fluid is still warm. Their proteins and cell membranes are adapted to remain stable. Studying these organisms helps scientists understand the limits of biology. It also has practical uses. Heat. Stable enzymes from extreme microbes can be useful in laboratories and industry. A molecule evolved in the deep ocean may later assist research far above the surface. The vent ecosystem includes predators, as well as symbiotic animals. Fish patrol the edges. Octopuses hide among rocks. Crabs compete for food. Some species specialize in eating snails or mussels. Life here is not entirely peaceful, but its movements are shaped by the same limits as the rest of the deep sea. Energy matters. Temperature matters. Distance matters. Every animal must stay close enough to benefit from the vent, but not so close that the heat becomes dangerous. Some species position themselves within a narrow temperature range. A few centimeters may separate comfort from harm. They constantly adjust. A shrimp moves slightly closer. A crab steps away. A tube worm retracts its plume. The community is always responding to invisible gradients. Near the vent opening, the water may shimmer. The effect resembles air moving above a hot road. Warm fluid bends light differently from cold water. The boundary ripples. Mineral particles drift upward. Bacteria coat the rocks in pale or dark mats. The seafloor glows faintly under the lights of a submersible. Beyond that artificial light, everything remains black. The contrast is striking. A crowded living community exists within a small island of visibility. Outside it lies the immense dark ocean. A vent field may occupy only a limited area, but within that space, countless relationships unfold. Bacteria convert chemicals into energy. Worms shelter bacteria. Crabs graze on microbial growth. Predators search among the tubes. Larvae rise into currents. Minerals build new walls. Hot water moves through the crust. All of it begins with heat escaping from Earth's interior. The energy that powers these ecosystems comes from deep within the planet. It is ancient heat. Some remains from Earth's formation. Some is produced by radioactive decay inside rocks. That heat drives mantle movement, volcanism, and seafloor spreading at the vent. Planetary geology becomes biology. Rock, water, and life meet in one place. As we drift slowly above the chimney, the dark plume rises beside us. It curls into the cold seawater. Tiny particles spread outward. The plume becomes thinner. Eventually, it disappears into the surrounding ocean. Below, red tube worm plumes move gently. Shrimp gather along the mineral walls. A crab crosses a ledge. Bacteria continue their invisible chemistry. Nothing here waits for sunrise. There has never been a morning in this place. There has never been a sunset. The rhythm comes instead from the vent itself. Hot fluid rises, minerals settle, communities grow. The flow shifts, the structure changes, life adapts. We can remain here for a little while, safely watching the slow movement of warm water through the darkness. The chimney stands like a quiet tower. Its surface is rough and layered. Every layer records a period of flow. Every opening releases water that has traveled through the crust. The deep ocean around it is cold and still. Yet from inside the earth comes enough energy to support an entire world. A world without green plants, without sunlight, without seasons, only chemistry, pressure, darkness, and life. And as we leave the vent behind, its faint shimmer slowly disappears. The tube worms become pale shapes. The mineral tower becomes a shadow. Then the darkness closes around us again. But now we know that even here, far beneath the sun, the ocean can bloom as we continue across the deep sea floor. The glow of the hydrothermal vent fades behind us. The water becomes cold and dark again. The rock gives way to softer sediment. For a while, the landscape appears calm and nearly featureless. Then, ahead of us, the sea floor begins to change. Pale bacterial mats cover the mud. Clusters of mussels gather in dense groups. Small bubbles rise from cracks in the sediment. We are approaching a cold seep. Cold seeps are places where fluids and gases escape slowly from beneath the seafloor. Unlike hydrothermal vents, these fluids are not heated by nearby magma. Their temperature is usually close to that of the surrounding deep ocean. The word cold does not mean they are frozen. It simply distinguishes them from the very hot fluids of hydrothermal vents. The escaping material may contain methane. It may also contain hydrogen sulfide, oil, or other hydrocarbons. These chemicals can support life. Just as at hydrothermal vents, microorganisms form the base of the ecosystem. They use chemical energy rather than sunlight. Some microbes consume methane. Others use hydrogen sulfide. Together, they transform substances rising from beneath the seafloor. The methane may have formed from buried organic matter. Over long periods, heat and pressure can change this material. Microbes can also produce methane through their own metabolism. The gas moves upward through cracks and porous sediment. Sometimes it escapes as bubbles. Sometimes it remains dissolved in water. Sometimes it becomes trapped beneath the seabed. At a cold seep, much of the methane can be consumed before reaching the ocean above. Microorganisms act as a biological filter. They convert methane into other forms of carbon. This process helps limit how much methane enters the water, and eventually, the atmosphere. Methane is a powerful greenhouse gas. The deep sea floor, therefore, plays a quiet role in Earth's climate system. The work is done by organisms too small to see. Inside the sediment, different microbial groups cooperate. One group may consume methane without oxygen. Another group uses sulfate from seawater. Their chemical partnership allows the reaction to continue. This process is called anaerobic oxidation of methane. Anaerobic means that it occurs without oxygen. The reaction produces bicarbonate and hydrogen sulfide. The bicarbonate can contribute to the formation of carbonate rock. The hydrogen sulfide can feed other organisms. In this way, one chemical process creates the conditions for another. Cold seep communities often contain large clams and mussels. Some of these animals live with symbiotic bacteria inside their gills. The bacteria use hydrogen sulfide or methane. The animal receives nutrients from the microbes. The microbes receive shelter and access to chemicals. This arrangement resembles the partnerships found at hydrothermal vents, yet the environment is different. Cold seeps may remain active for much longer periods. Some persist for centuries or even thousands of years. Their slow, steady flow supports communities that can grow gradually. The animals may live unusually long lives. Some deep-sea clams have lifespans measured in centuries. Their growth is slow. Their shells record long stretches of environmental history. A single clam may have lived through many human generations. Tube worms also occur at cold seeps. Some species have no mouth or digestive tract as adults. Like their vent relatives, they rely on bacteria living inside their bodies. Their roots extend downward into the sediment. The roots absorb hydrogen sulfide from deeper layers. The plume above the seafloor absorbs oxygen from the water. The worm transports these substances internally. Its symbiotic bacteria use them to produce food. The animal connects two chemical worlds. Its lower body reaches into sulfide-rich sediment. Its upper body reaches into oxygenated seawater. This position allows the partnership to survive. Young tube worms may settle close together. Over time, some grow taller and thicker. Their tubes create shelter for smaller animals. Crabs hide between them. Snails crawl across their surfaces. Worms and crustaceans occupy the spaces below. A forest of tube worms becomes a three-dimensional habitat. Its structure changes the flow of water. It traps particles. It creates shaded areas and sheltered pockets. One species makes room for many others. This is another form of ecosystem engineering. Cold seep mussel beds perform a similar role. Thousands of shells create hard surfaces on soft sediment. Small organisms attach to them. Others hide between them. When the mussels die, their shells remain. The living bed slowly becomes a reef of biological material. Layer after layer accumulates. The habitat continues changing even after individual animals are gone. Carbonate rocks are also common around cold seeps. They form when microbial activity changes the chemistry of the sediment. Dissolved minerals become solid. Hard crusts develop on the seafloor. These rocks provide attachment points for corals, sponges, and other organisms. A place that began as soft mud becomes a rocky habitat. The geology is partly shaped by life, and life is partly shaped by geology. The two processes cannot be separated easily. Some cold seeps release oil. Small droplets move through the sediment and enter the water. Microbes can break down parts of the oil. Different organisms specialize in different compounds. The process is slow. But over time, biological communities transform much of the material. In darkness, chemistry replaces sunlight as the main source of opportunity. A molecule rising from deep sediment becomes food. A bacterial film becomes a meadow. A mussel bed becomes a reef. A tube worm colony becomes a forest. The words are borrowed from the surface world, but the ecosystem follows its own rules. Farther ahead, the seafloor appears to shimmer. At first, it looks like a smooth patch of water resting inside the ocean. Boundary is clearly visible. The surface ripples gently. It resembles a small lake, but this lake is already underwater. We are approaching a brine pool. Brine is water with an extremely high concentration of dissolved salt. Because it is much denser than ordinary seawater, it settles into depressions on the seafloor. The two liquids do not mix quickly. A distinct boundary forms between them from a distance. The brine pool looks like a lake with a shoreline. Waves can move across its surface. The edge may curve around the sediment. Small ridges form like banks. It is one of the strangest landscapes in the deep ocean. The brine may have formed when ancient salt deposits beneath the seafloor dissolved. Millions of years ago, shallow seas evaporated in some regions. They left thick layers of salt behind. Later, sediment buried those deposits. When water moved through the salt, concentrated brine was created. The dense fluid migrated upward. Eventually, it collected in low areas on the seafloor. Some brine pools are only a few meters across. Others are much larger. Their water can be several times saltier than the surrounding ocean. The high salinity makes them difficult or impossible for many animals to survive in. Some brines also contain methane, hydrogen sulfide, and very little oxygen. For an ordinary fish, entering the pool can be dangerous. The animal may become disoriented. If it remains too long, it may die. The shoreline can therefore be lined with the remains of creatures that ventured too close. Yet the edge of the pool can support abundant life. Mussels gather where chemicals from the brine meet oxygen from seawater. Bacteria form thick mats. Worms, crabs, and other animals feed nearby. The boundary is harsh. but it is also productive. Life often concentrates where two environments meet. At the surface of Earth, forests may grow along rivers. Birds gather at coastlines. Plants thrive at the edges of wetlands. In the deep ocean, chemical boundaries create similar zones of opportunity. The brine pool has no sunlight. No plants grow along its shore. But the principle is familiar. An edge creates variety. Variety creates habitat. The surface of the brine can support unusual microorganisms. Some tolerate extremely high salinity. They are called halophiles. The word means salt-loving. Their cells contain adaptations that prevent water from being drawn out by the salty surroundings. Ordinary cells would lose water and become damaged. Halophiles maintain their internal balance in different ways. Some accumulate salts inside their cells. Others produce special organic molecules. Their proteins are adapted to function under conditions that would disrupt most life. Brine pools therefore help scientists study biological limits. They show that water alone is not enough. Its chemistry matters. Salt concentration matters. Oxygen matters. Temperature matters. Life occupies the spaces where all these conditions remain within tolerable ranges. Some brine pools are nearly lifeless inside. Others contain rich microbial communities. The exact composition depends on local chemistry. A pool rich in methane may support methane-consuming microbes. A pool containing sulfide may support sulfur-based metabolism. Different layers can form within the brine. The upper layer may contain one community. Deeper layers may contain another. Even a small underwater lake can hold several chemical worlds. The boundary between seawater and brine may appear smooth, but molecules are constantly moving across it. Salt diffuses outward. Oxygen moves inward. Microbes consume chemicals. Currents disturb the edge. The pool is stable, but not motionless. Its shape can change. Sediment can slide into it. Gas bubbles can rise through it. New brine can enter from below. The deep ocean is full of slow movement. A landscape that appears frozen may be changing continuously. Near some brine pools, small rivers of dense fluid flow downhill. The brine follows channels in the sediment. Because it is heavier than seawater, it behaves almost like liquid flowing through air. It collects in basins. It forms streams and waterfalls. But these features exist entirely underwater. The result is a landscape with two overlapping hydrological systems. Ordinary seawater fills the ocean. Dense brine flows within it. One body of water contains another. The idea feels impossible at first, yet it follows simple differences in density. Oil can float on water. Cold air can sink beneath warm air. Brine settles beneath seawater. Nature builds layers wherever materials differ. Methane can also form solid structures beneath the seafloor. Under high pressure and low temperature, methane molecules can become trapped inside cages of water molecules. The resulting substance is called methane hydrate. It looks somewhat like ice. For this reason, it is sometimes called fire ice. If brought to the surface and ignited, methane released from the hydrate can burn. Large amounts of methane hydrate may exist in marine sediments. They represent an enormous store of carbon. The hydrates remain stable only under certain conditions. Temperature and pressure must stay within a suitable range. If conditions change, the structure can break down. Methane gas is released. Scientists study methane hydrates because of their role in seafloor stability and climate. They have also attracted interest as a possible energy resource. Extracting them would be technically difficult. and environmentally risky. Disturbing the sediment could release methane or cause instability. As with many deep-sea resources, the existence of something valuable creates difficult questions. How much do we understand? How slowly does the ecosystem recover? What might be damaged before it is fully discovered? The deep ocean contains minerals, energy, and biological knowledge. It also contains systems that developed over long periods. Using those resources requires caution. Near methane seeps, bubbles sometimes rise through the water. As they move upward, much of the methane dissolves. Microbes may consume some of it. Only a portion may reach shallower layers. The journey of a gas bubble is shaped by pressure, temperature, and chemistry. At depth, gases behave differently. A bubble can shrink as methane dissolves. It can become coated with hydrate. It can be carried sideways by currents. Something that begins as a simple bubble may follow a complex path. The seafloor may also release fresh water in some regions. Submarine springs occur where groundwater moves through rock and emerges beneath the sea. The water can be less salty than the surrounding ocean. These springs create another kind of chemical boundary. They may carry nutrients or dissolved minerals. Specialized organisms gather around them. Again, the deep ocean proves that the seafloor is not a sealed surface. Water, gases, heat, and chemicals move through it. The ocean interacts continuously with the crust beneath. Some seeps are linked to tectonic activity. Faults provide pathways for fluids. Others occur where sediment is rapidly deposited. The weight of new material compresses deeper layers. Water and gas are pushed upward. Mud volcanoes can form. These are not ordinary volcanoes filled with molten rock. Instead, they release mud, water, and gas. Some build low hills. Others create large cones or craters. The mud may be cold. It may carry material from deep beneath the seabed. Scientists examine it for information about hidden geological layers. Mud volcanoes can also support seep communities. Methane and sulfide feed microorganisms. Animals gather around the chemical flow. The landscape may look barren, but beneath the mud, energy is moving upward. At the edge of the brine pool, mussel shells form a pale band. Their bodies are dark and tightly packed. Small crabs move between them. A thin bacterial mat stretches across the sediment. Its surface is white, yellow, or orange, depending on the organisms and chemicals present. A few fish remain at a careful distance. They circle the boundary without entering. The still surface of the brine reflects our imagined light. It looks calm. A gentle ripple crosses it. For a moment, the illusion of a lake is complete. One could imagine a shoreline beneath the night sky, but there is no sky here. Above us are thousands of meters of seawater. The ripples move beneath permanent darkness. The lake rests within an ocean. The scene is quiet enough to feel unreal, yet every part of it follows the ordinary laws of chemistry and physics. Salt makes the water dense. Gravity gathers it in a depression. Microbes use the available chemicals. Animals occupy the narrow zones where conditions are suitable. Complexity emerges from simple differences. The deep ocean often works this way. A small change in temperature creates a habitat. A small change in salinity creates a boundary. A small flow of methane supports an ecosystem. The scale may be vast, but the causes are often subtle. As we drift around the pool, the boundary curves away into darkness. The lights of our vessel reveal only a small section. Beyond it, the shoreline continues unseen. Perhaps more mussel beds lie farther ahead. Perhaps a stream of brine enters from a hidden crack. Perhaps another pool rests beyond the ridge. There is no need to map it all tonight. We can simply observe what appears. A bubble rises, a crab pauses, a bacterial mat moves softly in the current. The surface of the brine settles again. Everything returns to stillness. Cold seeps do not roar. They do not erupt with flame. They release energy gradually, a slow leak of methane, a quiet flow of sulfide, a thin stream of dense water. Yet these gentle processes support communities that can last for centuries. They remind us that life does not always need abundance. Sometimes it needs only a steady source, a small but reliable flow, enough chemistry to continue, enough time to adapt, enough stability to grow. The deep sea is full of such places, hidden oases scattered across the seafloor, vent fields warmed by Earth's interior, cold seeps fed by buried carbon, brine pools formed from ancient salt. Each creates its own world. Each is connected to the larger ocean. Each transforms material moving through the planet. As we leave the brine pool behind, its smooth surface becomes a dark oval. The mussel beds fade into shadow. The bacterial mats disappear. Soon, the seafloor looks empty again. But we know now that beneath the sediment, fluids are moving. Microbes are working. Methane is being consumed. Minerals are forming. The apparent emptiness contains slow and hidden activity. We continue gently across the deep plain. The water remains cold. The darkness remains complete. Far ahead, the seafloor rises into steep walls and underwater mountains. There, corals grow without sunlight. Sponges build fragile gardens. Ancient animals attach themselves to stone, and the deep ocean begins to reveal another quiet form of life. Ahead of us, the seafloor begins to rise. The flat sediment gives way to stone. Dark slopes climb gently from the abyssal plain. We are approaching an underwater mountain. These mountains are called seamounts. Most seamounts are volcanic in origin. Some formed millions of years ago when magma rose through the oceanic crust. They may stand thousands of meters above the surrounding seafloor, yet many never reach the surface. Their summits remain hidden beneath the waves. A seamount can be larger than an ordinary mountain on land, but because it lies underwater, it may never appear on a familiar map. The ocean contains tens of thousands of these submerged peaks. Only a portion have been studied closely. Each one alters the movement of water around it. Currents strike the slopes and are forced upward. This upward movement can carry nutrients into shallower layers. It can also bring drifting food to animals living on the mountain. For this reason, seamounts often support more life than the open seafloor around them. They act like islands in the deep ocean. But these islands are made of rock and current rather than land and sunlight. As we move closer, the slope becomes visible. At first, it appears bare. Then, small white branches emerge from the darkness. More shapes appear behind them. Red fans, hale bushes, delicate trees attached to stone. We have entered a deep sea coral garden. Many people associate coral with warm, shallow, tropical water. But corals also live in cold and deep parts of the ocean. Some grow hundreds or thousands of meters below the surface. They receive no sunlight. Unlike many shallow water corals, deep sea corals do not depend on photosynthetic algae. Instead, they capture food from the water. Tiny particles drift past. Small planktonic animals become caught by tentacles. Organic material carried by currents provides energy. A coral waits. Its food comes to it. Deep sea corals are animals. Each coral colony is made of many small individuals called polyps. A polyp has a simple body and a ring of tentacles. It attaches to the skeleton built by the colony. Together, the polyps create branching structures, fans, cups, or mounds. Some corals build hard skeletons from calcium carbonate. Others contain flexible protein-based structures. Their forms vary widely. A coral that looks like a plant is still an animal colony. It has no roots. It does not make energy from sunlight. It feeds from the passing water. The current is essential. If the water were completely still, little food would arrive. Corals often grow where flow is steady. They extend branches into the current. Their shape helps them intercept particles. A broad fan may grow across the direction of water movement. Fine branches increase the area available for feeding. The colony becomes both body and net. Some deep-sea corals live for an extraordinary length of time. Individual colonies may survive for centuries. Certain black corals have been estimated to be thousands of years old. They grow very slowly. A few millimeters of new skeleton may be added in a year. The branch in front of us may have begun growing before many modern nations existed. It has remained on the same rock through countless seasons far above. Storms cross the surface. Ships travel overhead. Human generations came and went. The coral continued feeding in darkness. Its world changed slowly. The cold water remained stable. The current delivered particles. The colony added layer after layer. The skeleton of a coral can preserve information about the past. Chemical traces within it reflect the water in which it grew. Scientists study coral growth rings and isotopes. These records can reveal changes in ocean conditions. Deep-sea coral is therefore both a living animal and a natural archive. Its body contains history. Around the coral branches, small creatures hide. Brittle stars wrap their arms around the structure. Shrimp cling to narrow spaces. Crabs move slowly between colonies. Tiny worms build tubes along the skeleton. Fish hover close to the branches. The coral creates complexity on a rocky slope. Without it, the surface would be mostly bare. With it, there are shelters, feeding places, and nursery grounds. A single large colony can support many other organisms. A group of colonies becomes a forest. The forest is not green. It may be white, orange, pink, red, or gold. No leaves open. No sunlight filters through. Yet, the ecological role feels familiar. The branches create layers. Some animals live near the base. Others settle on the outer tips. Predators search between them. Young fish hide inside. A deep-sea coral garden is a place of structure in an otherwise open environment. Some coral reefs form large mounds. Over many generations, coral skeletons accumulate. New colonies grow on old remains. Sediment becomes trapped between branches. The mound slowly rises. These structures can be hundreds of meters tall. They may take tens of thousands of years to develop. The living coral occupies the surface. Beneath it lie the skeletons of earlier colonies. The reef is built by generations that never moved from the mountain. Cold water coral reefs often occur where currents are strong enough to deliver food. They may grow along continental margins, ridges, and seamounts. Their distribution depends on temperature, oxygen, food supply, and water chemistry. Some species prefer a narrow range of conditions. Change in current can alter their food. A change in acidity can affect skeleton growth. Because they grow slowly, recovery after damage may take a very long time. Fishing gear can break coral branches. Heavy nets dragged across the seafloor may destroy centuries of growth in minutes. The damage may not be visible from the surface. The ship moves on. The water closes behind it, but the coral forest below may remain broken for generations. Deep sea conservation is difficult because the habitats are hidden. People protect what they can see more easily. A damaged forest on land is visible. A damaged coral garden 2,000 meters down is not, yet the time required for recovery may be even longer. Slow growth creates beauty. It also creates vulnerability. As we move farther along the slope, the coral garden changes. Large branching colonies become less common. Tall sponges begin to appear. Some are shaped like vases. Others resemble glass baskets, cups, or delicate towers. This is a deep-sea sponge garden. Sponges are among the simplest multicellular animals. They have no brain. They have no heart. They have no digestive system like ours. Instead, water flows through tiny pores in their bodies. Specialized cells create the current. Food particles and microbes are removed from the water. The filtered water leaves through larger openings. A sponge spends its life processing the ocean around it. Even without muscles or a nervous system, it performs complex biological work. Its cells cooperate. Some capture food. Some build the skeleton. Some transport nutrients. Some defend the body. The animal functions as a living filter. Deep-sea sponges may grow on rocks, coral skeletons, or hard mineral surfaces. Some contain skeletons made from silica. Silica is the material found in glass. These are known as glass sponges. Their internal structures are formed from tiny elements called spicules. The spicules join together into intricate frameworks. They can create shapes that appear almost geometric. Under close examination, the skeleton may resemble fine architecture. Lattices, spirals, and intersecting beams support the body. One famous glass sponge is known as Venus's flower basket. It forms a tubular skeleton made of silica. The structure contains many small openings. In some cases, a pair of tiny shrimp enters while young. As the shrimp grow, they may become unable to leave. They spend their lives inside the sponge. Their offspring escape through the openings. The image of two animals remaining together inside a glass structure has given the sponge symbolic meaning in some cultures. But in the deep sea, it is simply one more ecological relationship. The shrimp receive shelter. The sponge benefits from water movement and waste products. Different lives become linked within one body. Glass sponges can live for a very long time. Some individuals may survive for thousands of years. Their metabolism is slow. Their environment is cold. Their growth may be almost imperceptible. A sponge that looks motionless is still actively filtering water. Minute currents pass through its tissues. Particles are captured. Oxygen is absorbed. Waste is released. The work continues hour after hour, century after century. Sponges also host large communities of microbes. Bacteria and archaea live within their tissues. Some help process nutrients. Others may produce chemical defenses. The sponge and its microbes form a combined system. It can be difficult to define where one organism's biology ends and another begins. This is common in the ocean. Corals depend on microbes. Tube worms depend on bacteria. Mussels contain symbionts. Animals that appear to be individuals are often communities. Life succeeds through cooperation as often as through competition. Some deep-sea sponges capture more than tiny particles. Carnivorous sponges have evolved in environments where suspended food is scarce. They possess hooked structures that trap small crustaceans. The prey becomes caught on the sponge's surface. Cells gradually surround and digest it. This is unusual for a sponge. Most filter water. These species have adapted to hunt without moving. Their body itself is the trap. Again, the deep sea produces unexpected solutions. An animal without a mouth can capture prey. A worm without a stomach can be fed by bacteria. A coral without sunlight can build a reef. The basic forms of life become flexible in darkness. Farther up the seamount, the current strengthens. Suspended particles move more quickly. Coral branches lean slightly in the flow. Feather stars open their arms. These animals are relatives of starfish. Their many feathery limbs extend into the current. They catch drifting food. Some remain attached to the rock. Others can crawl or swim slowly when necessary. A feather star may look like a plant in bloom, but each arm contains rows of small tube feet. Particles are moved toward the mouth. The animal feeds from the water like the corals around it. Sea lilies are close relatives of feather stars. They attach to the seafloor by long stalks. Their bodies rise above the bottom. Feathery arms spread at the top. Sea lilies were much more common in ancient oceans. Fossils show vast communities from hundreds of millions of years ago. Today, many survive mainly in deep water. They are living representatives of an old body plan. Watching one feed is like seeing a distant chapter of Earth's history still in motion. The deep sea often preserves ancient lineages. Stable conditions can allow organisms to persist. This does not mean they have stopped evolving. Every living species continues to change over generations, but some body forms remain recognizable across enormous spans of time. The coelacanth is another famous example. It was once known only from fossils and was believed to have disappeared millions of years ago. Then, in the 20th century, a living coelacanth was discovered. These fish live in deep, rocky habitats. They have unusual fleshy fins supported by internal bones. Their discovery reminded scientists that the ocean can conceal entire branches of life. An animal may be unknown, not because it is rare everywhere, but because humans have rarely entered its habitat. New deep-sea species are still described regularly. Some are found in museum collections years after being collected. A preserved specimen may look ordinary at first. Later, detailed examination reveals that it represents something new. Discovery does not always happen during a dramatic expedition. Sometimes it happens quietly under laboratory light. A small difference in a skeleton, an unusual arrangement of spines, a genetic sequence that does not match known species. Then the map of life expands slightly. On the rocky slope, we see a Dumbo octopus moving above the bottom. It is named for the two fins that extend from its head. The fins resemble ears. They flap gently as the octopus swims. Its webbed arms form a soft umbrella. Dumbo octopuses live in deep water. Some have been observed at greater depths than almost any other octopus. They move with slow, controlled motions. The fins provide propulsion. The arms help steer. Unlike shallow water octopuses, they do not usually release ink. In the deep sea, a dark ink cloud would offer little advantage. There is already no light. Instead, they rely on movement, camouflage, and the vastness of the environment. A Dumbo octopus may feed on worms, crustaceans, and small animals on the seafloor. It swallows prey whole. Its body is soft. Its colors may be pale, pink, brown, or reddish. The animal seems almost weightless as it passes over the coral garden. Its fins rise and fall. Then it turns and disappears behind a sponge. Nearby, an octopus broods over a cluster of eggs. Deep-sea octopuses may guard their eggs for extraordinarily long periods. One species has been observed brooding for more than 4 years. During this time, the mother remains close to the eggs. She protects them and keeps water moving across them. She may eat very little or not at all. Cold temperatures, slow development. The young take a long time to grow inside the eggs. The mother's patience is part of their survival. When the eggs finally hatch, she may die soon afterward. Her entire remaining life has been devoted to one quiet task. The deep sea contains many forms of waiting. Corals wait for food. Sponges filter slowly. Larvae drift toward distant habitats. Eggs develop for years. Predators remain still until prey approaches. Time here is not empty. It is a resource, like Seva. Slow processes are not failures to act. They are adaptations to an environment where energy is limited and conditions are stable. The seamount itself may also move through a long life cycle. A young volcanic island can rise above the surface. Waves erode it. The volcano becomes inactive. The island slowly sinks as the oceanic crust cools. Coral reefs may grow around it in warm regions. Eventually, the summit falls beneath the waves. If the top has been flattened by erosion, the underwater mountain is called a guyot. A guyot has a broad, level summit. It is the remains of an island that once met the sky. Now it rests far below sunlight. Its flat top records an earlier shoreline. The ocean has covered the old land. Corals, sponges, and deep-sea animals may later settle on it. A tropical island becomes a submerged habitat. Geological change transforms one ecosystem into another. Seamounts can guide migrating animals. Tuna, sharks, whales, and sea turtles may gather near them. The reasons vary. Currents concentrate food. Magnetic or topographic features may aid navigation. Some animals stop to feed. Others may use the mountain as a landmark in the open ocean. To humans, the seamount is invisible beneath the surface. To marine life, it can be a major feature of the landscape. Sound also behaves differently around underwater mountains. Calls may reflect from slopes. Currents create turbulence. The shape of the seafloor affects how signals travel. A whale passing overhead may hear echoes from terrain far below. The ocean is not an empty volume. It contains boundaries, layers, ridges, and hidden architecture. The water is shaped by the land beneath it. As we rise slightly along the seamount, the number of animals increases. Corals extend into the current. Sponges cover ledges. Small fish gather near the branches. Some hide inside holes in the rock. Others hover in open water. The mountain creates many depths within a small horizontal area. Its base may lie in the abyss. Its summit may reach the twilight zone. Different communities occupy different elevations. Temperature changes. Oxygen changes. Food supply changes. A journey up one seamount can cross several ecological worlds. Some mountains are old enough to have carried their communities across entire ocean basins. Tectonic plates move gradually over hotspots. A chain of volcanoes forms. The youngest mountain lies above the source of magma. Older mountains are carried away. Over time, they cool and sink. This process can create long island and seamount chains. The Hawaiian Islands are one familiar example. Beneath the surface, the chain continues as submerged mountains. The visible islands are only the youngest peaks in a much longer geological story. On some seamounts, lost fishing lines and nets become caught on coral. They may continue trapping animals. This is called ghost fishing. A net no longer controlled by people can remain active underwater. It entangles fish, crabs, turtles, or marine mammals. On a slow-growing coral reef, it can also break branches repeatedly as currents move it. Removing such gear from deep water is difficult. The habitat may lie beyond ordinary diving depth. Special vehicles are required. The problem shows how long human objects can remain after their original purpose is gone. The deep ocean preserves many things: coral skeletons, sediment layers, shipwrecks, plastic, cables, fishing gear. In cold, dark water, decomposition can be slow. The sea floor becomes an archive not only of natural history, but also of human activity. Yet the mountain before us remains mostly alive. A large coral fan extends across the current. Its surface is covered with tiny open polyps. A brittle star is wrapped around one branch. Several translucent shrimp rest near the base. Glass sponge rises behind it like a pale lantern. The lights of our imagined vessel pass through its lattice. For a moment, the skeleton seems to glow. Then we turn slightly. The light moves away. The sponge returns to darkness. It has lived without our observation. It will continue after we leave. There is comfort in this independence. The deep ocean does not require an audience. Its communities grow in places no human may visit. A coral opens its polyps whether or not a camera is present. A sponge filters water without being measured. An octopus guards her eggs without being known. Life continues beyond our awareness. The world is larger than what we notice. As we drift above the seamount, the summit slopes away beneath us. The coral garden becomes a wide field of branching shapes. Red, white, and orange structures emerge from the rock. Feather stars open in the current. Small fish move between them. Nothing here is bright in the way of a tropical reef. The colors appear only within our gentle light. Beyond its reach, the entire garden rests in darkness. Yet the darkness has protected ancient lives. Some colonies have been growing for centuries. Some sponges may be older than the buildings of modern cities. They have survived through stillness. They have built slowly. They have accepted the rhythm of the water. We can imagine floating here for a little while. The current moves past us, carries tiny particles. The coral polyps catch a few. The sponge draws water through its body. A feather star bends and opens again. Each organism takes only what it needs. There is no rush. Growth happens one layer at a time. A branch lengthens by a small amount. A skeleton thickens. A colony expands across the rock. The mountain remains beneath them. The ocean remains around them. And time passes quietly. Farther ahead, beyond the seamount, the water opens into darkness once more. There, enormous animals travel through the deep. Whales descend from the surface. Squid move through black water. Sharks follow ancient roots. The next part of our journey will leave the coral gardens behind and enter the wide paths of the ocean's largest wanderers. Beyond the seamount, the rocky slope falls away. The coral gardens become smaller behind us. Soon, only open water remains. There is no visible floor, no mountain wall, no nearby structure. We are floating once again within the vast darkness of the deep ocean. This open space may appear empty, but large animals travel through it. Some spend their entire lives at depth. Others descend from the surface to feed. Among the most remarkable deep divers are sperm whales. A sperm whale can remain underwater for more than an hour. During a deep dive, it may travel far below the reach of sunlight. Some dives extend more than 1,000 meters beneath the surface. The whale enters the midnight zone in search of squid and fish. Before diving, it takes a series of breaths. Its body stores oxygen in several ways. A large amount is carried in the blood. More is stored inside muscles by a protein called myoglobin. Deep-diving mammals often have high concentrations of myoglobin. This gives their muscles a dark color. It also allows them to remain active when they are not breathing. During a dive, the whale's heart rate slows. Blood flow is reduced to parts of the body that can temporarily manage with less oxygen. The brain and other essential organs continue receiving what they need. This response is called the diving reflex. Humans also possess a mild version of it. When the face meets cold water, the heart may slow slightly. In whales and seals, the response is far more developed. A sperm whale's lungs are adapted to collapse safely under pressure. Air is moved away from delicate gas exchange surfaces. This helps reduce the absorption of nitrogen during deep dives. Human divers must carefully manage dissolved gases. If they ascend too quickly, bubbles can form in tissues and blood. This condition is known as decompression sickness. Marine mammals have evolved anatomical and behavioral adaptations that reduce this risk. Even so, deep diving remains physically demanding. The whale must balance oxygen, pressure, time, and energy. It descends through darkness with slow, powerful movements. Its large tail rises and falls. The body angles downward. Soon, it disappears beneath the last blue light. In the deep ocean, vision becomes less useful. Sperm whales rely heavily on sound. They produce loud clicks. These clicks travel through the water and return as echoes. By listening to those echoes, the whale can detect objects and animals. This is called echolocation. To a whale, sound can reveal shape, distance, direction, and movement. A squid hidden in darkness may still be clearly present in sound. The whale sends a click. The sound travels outward. It reaches the squid. A faint echo returns. The whale adjusts its path. Another click follows. As the distance closes, the rhythm may become faster. The dark water becomes an acoustic landscape. Sound travels much faster in water than in air. It also loses energy differently. Low-frequency calls can move over enormous distances. Some whale sounds may cross entire ocean basins. The deep ocean contains layers where sound travels especially efficiently. One of these is called the sound channel. Changes in temperature and pressure bend sound waves toward the center of the layer. Instead of escaping upward or downward, the sound is guided horizontally. A call may travel for hundreds or even thousands of kilometers. Animals can communicate across distances that would be impossible on land. The ocean may look silent, but to creatures that hear it properly, it is filled with information. Whales produce different kinds of sound. Some clicks are used for echolocation. Others may be used for communication. Sperm whales make pattern sequences called codas. Different social groups may use different coda patterns. These patterns can function like acoustic identities. They help whales recognize members of their own group. Communication continues even when the animals cannot see one another. A mother and calf may exchange sounds. Members of a group may coordinate movement. The darkness does not isolate them completely. Sound creates connection. Sperm whales are among the largest toothed predators on Earth. Adult males can grow much larger than females. Their enormous heads contain a waxy substance called spermaceti. The exact functions of the spermaceti organ are still studied. It likely plays an important role in sound production. The organ helps focus powerful clicks. These clicks are among the loudest biological sounds known. In the deep ocean, they act like brief flashes of acoustic light. Each one reveals a portion of the unseen world. Giant squid are among the prey associated with sperm whales. For centuries, stories described enormous squid living in the sea. Their long arms and unfamiliar bodies inspired legends. Real giant squid do exist, but they are difficult to observe in their natural habitat. Most live in deep water. They avoid bright environments. For much of scientific history, knowledge came from individuals found dead or dying near the surface. Only relatively recently have giant squid been filmed alive in the deep ocean. A giant squid has 8 arms and 2 longer feeding tentacles. The tentacles can extend rapidly toward prey. Suckers along their surfaces contain rings of hard material. These help grip slippery animals. The squid's body is supported by water. It has no heavy skeleton. Its mantle contains strong muscles used for swimming. By drawing water into the body and forcing it out through a funnel, the squid can move by jet propulsion. This allows sudden bursts of speed, but rapid movement costs energy. Like many deep-sea animals, a giant squid may spend much of its time moving carefully. Its enormous eyes help detect light in the darkness. They are among the largest eyes in the animal kingdom. Large eyes collect more light, but their size may serve another purpose as well. A swimming sperm whale can disturb countless bioluminescent organisms. These tiny flashes may outline the approach of a large predator. The squid may not see the whale directly. It may see the glowing trail created by the whale's movement. In this way, the smallest organisms can reveal the largest animals. Giant squid and sperm whales share a long evolutionary relationship. Circular scars are sometimes found on the skin of sperm whales. These marks may come from squid suckers. They suggest close encounters in darkness, yet the exact details are rarely observed. The deep sea hides most of its interactions. A chase may happen kilometers below the surface. No sunlight reaches it. No human witnesses it. Only scars, stomach contents, and occasional recordings remain. Scientists reconstruct the story from fragments: a tooth, a sucker ring, a sound recording, a brief image from a camera. The incomplete evidence is part of deep-sea research. Knowledge grows slowly. One observation adds to another. The picture becomes clearer, but never complete. Other deep-diving whales enter the darkness as well. Beaked whales are especially capable divers. Some species can remain underwater for several hours. They may descend to depths greater than 2,000 meters. They feed mainly on squid and deep-sea fish. Beaked whales are difficult to study. They often spend little time at the surface. They live far offshore. Their dives are long. Their behavior is quiet. Some species were first described from stranded individuals. Even large mammals can remain mysterious when they occupy the open ocean. Beaked whales use echolocation clicks during the deeper part of a dive. Near the surface, they may become quieter. This may reduce the risk of being detected by predators, such as killer whales. Sound is useful, but it can reveal the sender's position. Animals must decide when to speak and when to remain silent. The ocean is shaped by listening. Predators hear prey. Prey hear predators. Social groups hear one another. Human-made noise enters this system as well. Ships, sonar, construction, and underwater exploration all produce sound. Some noises travel far. They may interfere with communication or navigation. The effects depend on volume, frequency, duration, and species. A sound harmless to one animal may disturb another. Deep diving whales can be especially sensitive to certain intense sounds. Changes in diving behavior may create additional physiological stress. The underwater world is not naturally silent, but its soundscape has evolved over millions of years. Rapid increases in human noise introduce unfamiliar patterns. Protecting marine life, therefore, requires thinking not only about visible pollution, but also acoustic pollution. A quiet ocean is not an empty ocean. Its natural clicks, calls, rumbles, and movements form a living environment. Far below us, a slow shadow crosses the water. It is a Greenland shark. Greenland sharks live in the cold waters of the North Atlantic and Arctic regions. They are among the longest-lived vertebrates known. Some estimates suggest that large individuals may be several centuries old. Their growth is extremely slow. A shark may increase in length by only a small amount each year. Cold temperatures and slow metabolism contribute to this long lifespan. A Greenland shark moving through the deep may have been born before the industrial age. It may have lived through changes in climate, shipping, and human history, yet its daily world remains dark and cold. The shark swims slowly. Its body is heavy and powerful. Its speed is generally low compared with many other sharks. It feeds on fish and other animals. It may also scavenge. The exact details of its hunting behavior are still not fully understood. A slow predator may rely on surprise, darkness, sleeping prey, or weakened animals. Again, patience becomes an adaptation. Many Greenland sharks carry small parasitic crustaceans attached to their eyes. These parasites are called copepods. They can damage the cornea and reduce vision. The shark may still function well because sight is not its only sense. Sharks detect smell, vibration, and electrical fields. The deep ocean offers many forms of perception. Vision is only one. Sharks possess a sensory system called the ampullae of Lorenzini. These tiny organs can detect weak electrical signals. Muscle contractions and nerve activity produce electric fields. A buried fish may be hidden from sight. Its scent may be faint, but its body still generates electrical activity. The shark can detect it. This ability helps many sharks locate prey. It may also assist with navigation. Earth itself has a magnetic field. Some marine animals appear able to sense magnetic information. They may use it like a broad planetary map. The exact mechanisms remain an active area of research. For an animal crossing an open ocean, magnetic cues could provide direction where no visible landmarks exist. Sea turtles, salmon, sharks, and other animals are capable of returning to specific regions after long migrations. They likely combine several sources of information: magnetic fields, sun position near the surface, wave direction, current patterns, smell, temperature, sound. Navigation is rarely based on a single sense. It is a layered understanding of the environment. Deep-sea sharks show many different adaptations. Some have large green eyes. Some possess light-producing organs. The cookie-cutter shark is a small, deep-water species with an unusual feeding method. It attaches briefly to larger animals. Its lower teeth remove a round plug of tissue. The wound resembles a clean circular bite. Whales, dolphins, tuna, seals, and even submarines have been found with marks associated with cookie-cutter sharks. The shark is not trying to consume the entire animal. It takes only a small portion. Its body contains photophores that glow along the underside. This light may help hide its silhouette from animals below. A dark patch near its throat may create the appearance of a smaller fish. A larger predator approaches what seems to be prey. The shark then attaches and bites. In the darkness, light can become camouflage, communication, bait, or deception. The sleeper sharks are another group adapted to cold and deep water. They move slowly and may scavenge as well as hunt. Their bodies are soft to compare with faster coastal sharks. Their tissues contain compounds that help maintain chemical balance. Like other deep animals, they are built around energy conservation. Speed is possible, but not always necessary. The deep ocean favors efficiency. Some large animals visit the deep only temporarily. Elephant seals dive repeatedly during long journeys. They may spend much of each day underwater. Between dives, they surface briefly to breathe. Then they descend again. They hunt fish and squid in deep water. Their bodies contain large blood volumes and high levels of myoglobin. They can reduce heart rate and direct oxygen toward essential tissues. Sensors attached to seals have provided valuable scientific data. The animals travel through regions difficult for ships to reach. Their instruments record temperature, depth, and salinity. The seal becomes both traveler and research partner. It moves naturally through the ocean. Scientists receive a record of its path. Animal-borne instruments reveal a world from the animal's perspective. A depth trace shows each dive. A temperature record shows the layers crossed. Location data reveals migration routes. Together, these measurements help researchers understand both behavior and ocean conditions. Technology becomes most useful when it follows the shape of natural life, instead of forcing the ocean to fit human observation. The observer travels with the animal. Large animals also transport nutrients. A whale feeds at depth. It returns to the surface. It releases waste rich in nutrients. These nutrients support microscopic plant growth in sunlit water. Whales can therefore connect deep food webs with surface ecosystems. Their bodies also store carbon. When a whale dies and sinks, much of that carbon may reach the seafloor. The resulting whale fall supports deep sea communities for years. A living whale moves energy vertically. A dead whale becomes habitat. The influence of a single animal can extend across many ocean layers. Whale migrations also connect distant regions. Some species feed in cold, productive waters and breed in warmer seas. They carry nutrients within their bodies. They produce sound across ocean basins. They travel through political boundaries that do not exist in water. A whale's route belongs to the ocean, not to one country. Conservation must therefore cross borders as well. The deep ocean itself is shared. Currents do not stop at maps. Animals do not recognize lines drawn by humans. Sound, carbon, heat, and pollution all move through connected systems. As we continue drifting, a series of clicks passes through the darkness. They are distant at first, then slightly louder. A sperm whale is somewhere beyond the reach of our light. We do not see it, but the sound reveals its presence. The clicks are spaced apart. Each one travels outward and returns with information. The whale is building an image from echoes. Perhaps it is searching for squid. Perhaps it is moving through familiar water. Perhaps another whale listens farther away. A few moments later, the clicks begin to fade. The animal has changed direction. Soon, only the low background sound of the ocean remains. Water moving, distant biological calls. The faint noise of geological activity. The deep sea is never truly silent, but its sounds are spacious. They are separated by distance. A call may last only seconds and travel for hours. A click may reveal a hidden body. A low note may cross a basin. Sound allows life to touch what it cannot see. Ahead, A pale squid appears briefly in our light. Its fins move in gentle waves. Its arms remain close to the body. The animal turns. Its skin changes slightly in brightness. Squid possess pigment cells called chromatophores. By expanding or contracting these cells, they can alter their appearance. Some deepwater species also contain reflective structures. Even in faint light, the skin can change. Color may be used for camouflage or communication. In complete darkness, subtle flashes may be visible only at close range. The squid pauses for a moment. Then its mantle contracts. A small jet of water pushes it backward. It vanishes beyond the light. We are left once again with open darkness. The largest habitat on Earth has no walls. Its pathways are invisible. Whales cross it by sound. Sharks follow scent and electrical signals. Squid read faint light. Seal sense pressure and current. Every animal carries its own map. The map is not drawn on paper. It exists in memory, instinct, body, and perception. The ocean gives each traveler a different version of the same world. To one animal, it is a field of echoes. To another, a trail of chemicals. To another, a pattern of magnetic direction. To another, a scattering of living lights. There is no single way to understand the deep. We can imagine drifting here without needing to choose one. The water supports us. The darkness extends calmly in every direction. Somewhere far away, a whale is rising toward the surface. Its body carries the memory of pressure. Its blood still holds the last of the stored oxygen. The light above will slowly return. It will breathe. Rest for a moment. Then, when it is ready, it may descend again. The deep ocean is not a place these animals visit by accident. It is part of their ordinary lives. A feeding ground, a migration route, a world of sound and patience. And as the distant whale rises, we continue forward through the quiet water. Ahead lies another hidden story. The story of objects that sink. Ships, aircraft, wood, stone, and human history. Things lost at the surface can remain preserved for centuries below. Our next journey will follow them down to the deep sea floor. As we continue through the dark water, the open ocean gradually gives way to a new shape below us. At first, it looks like a low ridge. Then straight lines begin to appear. A flat surface, a broken railing, a structure that does not belong to geology. We are approaching a shipwreck. Across the ocean floor, thousands of ships rest in darkness. Some sank in storms. Some were damaged in war. Some struck reefs or ice. Others disappeared without witnesses. And at the surface, the final moments may have been violent. But after the descent, everything became still. The vessel settled onto the seabed. Sediment gathered around it. Marine life began to arrive. A shipwreck is both a human artifact and a new habitat. Its metal, wood, and cargo create hard surfaces in places that may otherwise be soft mud. Sponges attach to the hull. Corals grow along railings. Fish move through broken openings. Crabs shelter beneath plates and beams. Over time, the wreck becomes part of the seafloor community. The ship loses its original purpose. It becomes architecture for deep-sea life. Wooden ships can sometimes survive for surprisingly long periods underwater. Their preservation depends on temperature, oxygen, salinity, microbes, and the animals present. In cold, low-oxygen environments, decay may be slow. Some seas preserve wooden wrecks especially well. Where wood-boring organisms are absent or limited, Timbers can remain intact for centuries. A mast may still lie where it fell. A carved decoration may remain visible. Ropes, barrels, tools, and personal objects may survive beneath sediment. The deep ocean can preserve details that disappear quickly on land. There is no sunlight to fade color. There is less oxygen to support certain forms of decay. Cold temperatures, slow chemical reactions. Sediment can cover fragile objects and protect them from currents, but preservation is never complete. Salt enters materials, metal corrodes, wood softens. Microbes continue their work. The wreck is always changing, even when it appears frozen in time. Iron ships often develop long rust formations called rusticles. They hang from metal surfaces like icicles. Rusticles are created through interactions among iron, seawater, and microbial communities. They are not simple pieces of rust. They contain complex structures and living organisms. Water passes through them. Minerals accumulate. The ship is gradually transformed into softer, fragile material. A thick steel plate may eventually crumble when disturbed. Decay can create beauty. Delicate orange and brown formations extend from the hull. They sway slightly in the water, but they also reveal that the wreck is slowly disappearing. Famous shipwrecks attract great attention, yet most wrecks remain unknown. A fishing vessel lost in a storm, a cargo ship that sank far from shore, a wooden boat buried beneath sediment. Each contains a small human story. Someone built it. Someone repaired it. Someone stood on its deck. Someone expected it to return. Then the sea became its final resting place. Underwater archaeology studies these places carefully. Archaeologists examine the position of the hull, cargo, tools, and personal belongings. The arrangement can reveal how the ship sank. It can show how people lived and worked. A cooking pot may reveal ordinary meals, and a set of weights may reveal trade. A repair in the wood may show how long the vessel had been used. History often survives through small objects. The grandest artifact may be the ship itself, but the most personal may be a shoe, a cup, a comb, or a letter sealed inside a container. Deep sea excavation is difficult. Divers can work only within limited depths. Beyond those limits, researchers use remotely operated vehicles. These machines carry cameras, lights, robotic arms, and instruments. They hover carefully above the wreck. A movement that is too strong can stir sediment. The resulting cloud may block the view for a long time. Precision matters. A robotic arm may lift a fragile object with the gentleness of a human hand. The object is placed into a container. Its exact location is recorded. Context is essential in archaeology. An object removed without documentation loses part of its meaning. Where it was found matters. What rested beside it matters. Its angle, depth, and relationship to the structure all contribute to the story. A wreck is not simply a collection of valuable items. It is a site. Its information lies in arrangement. Modern mapping tools allow scientists to build detailed three-dimensional models. Cameras take many overlapping images. Software combines them into a digital reconstruction. This process is called photogrammetry. The model can preserve the appearance of a site at a particular moment. Researchers can measure distances later. They can compare changes over time. A wreck that is physically deteriorating can still be studied through its digital record. Sonar is also used to find and map underwater objects. A sonar system sends sound pulses into the water. The echoes reveal the shape of the seafloor. Large wrecks may appear as clear outlines. Smaller objects may require more detailed surveys. Side-scan sonar creates images based on reflected sound. It can reveal long shadows cast by structures on the bottom. Multi-beam sonar measures depth across a wide area. Together, these tools allow researchers to search large regions without seeing them directly. A faint shape on a sonar display can begin an entire investigation. The shape may be a rock. It may be a geological feature, or it may be a vessel lost for centuries. The first visual approach is often slow. The vehicle descends, the bottom appears, the sonar target lies ahead, then a straight edge enters the light. Human construction has been found. For a moment, past and present meet in darkness. Deep wrecks can become time capsules. If the site has not been disturbed by fishing, looting, or strong currents, objects may remain close to their original positions. Cargo may still be stacked. Cannons may still point through openings. Ceramic jars may stand in rows. The organization of the ship survives after the crew is gone. Ancient ships carried goods across connected worlds. Wine, oil, grain, spices, metals, glass, stone, and ceramics move between ports. A wreck can reveal trade routes. The origin of clay in a jar can identify where it was made. Seeds or food remains can show what was being transported. Metal composition can reveal mining and manufacturing practices. One vessel can connect many regions and cultures. The ocean separated communities, but it also linked them. Ships were the moving bridges. When one sank, part of that network settled onto the seabed. Not all underwater heritage comes from ships. Aircraft lie in deep water. Submarines rest on the bottom. Ancient settlements have been submerged by rising seas. Stone tools, roads, and structures may exist beneath coastal waters. During past ice ages, sea levels were lower. Large areas now underwater were once dry land. People lived, traveled, and hunted there. As ice melted, the ocean rose. Shorelines moved inland. The old landscapes disappeared beneath the sea. Marine archaeology can therefore explore former human worlds. A flat area of seabed may once have been a river valley. A shallow bank may have been an island. The ocean hides earlier versions of the coast. Sea level has never been completely fixed. It rises and falls over geological time. Climate, ice volume, land movement, and ocean temperature all contribute. The coastline people know today is only temporary. Deep beneath modern water, older coastlines remain. Some wrecks are also graves. They contain the remains of those who died. These sites require respect. Exploration must balance scientific interest with memory and dignity. Shipwreck is not only an object, it can be the final place of a crew. Many countries protect war graves and culturally important wrecks. Some locations are left undisturbed. Cameras may observe them without removing anything. Knowledge does not always require collection. Sometimes recording and remembering are enough. The darkness around a wreck can create an atmosphere of complete stillness. But currents continue to move through broken compartments. Sediment enters open doors. Animals pass through corridors. Bacteria consume material. Fishing lines may become caught on the structure. Human activity continues to affect the site long after sinking. Bottom trawling can damage wrecks. Heavy equipment dragged across the seabed may tear away sections. Looters may remove artifacts. Anchors can break fragile remains. Even scientific exploration can cause harm if performed carelessly. The deeper the wreck, the more protected it may seem. Yet new technology makes remote sites increasingly accessible. Access creates opportunity. It also creates responsibility. The ocean contains cultural heritage shared across generations. Many wrecks lie in international waters. questions of ownership can become complicated. Does the vessel belong to the country that built it? The country whose flag it carried? The descendants of its crew? The nation near whose coast it rests? The company that financed the search? The answers vary by law and circumstance, but the objects themselves remain silent. They rest where history placed them. Treasure stories often focus on gold, silver, and precious cargo, but archaeologists value information more than market price. A common ceramic bowl may reveal more about daily life than a gold coin. A bundle of ordinary tools may show how sailors worked. A piece of fabric may reveal clothing. A bone may reveal diet or health. The everyday objects create a more complete human story. Deep-sea preservation can make these details possible. Some organic materials survive where they would normally disappear: leather, wood, rope, seeds, textiles. Their survival depends on local conditions. Once brought to the surface, however, they may begin deteriorating quickly. The environment that preserved them is suddenly gone. Waterlogged wood can crack or collapse as it dries. Salt inside metal can accelerate corrosion. Conservation begins the moment an artifact is recovered. Objects may require years of treatment. Wood can be stabilized with special compounds. Metal can be slowly decelerated. Fragile surfaces must be protected. Recovery is not the end of the process. It is the beginning of another long responsibility. For this reason, archaeologists often leave objects underwater unless there is a clear reason to remove them. The seafloor can be the best storage environment available. A site may be documented and monitored rather than excavated. Sometimes the safest museum is the ocean itself. Shipwrecks also provide ecological information. Researchers study how organisms colonize artificial structures. The age of a wreck may be known from historical records. This allows scientists to estimate how long coral, sponge, or microbial communities have been growing. The vessel becomes an accidental experiment. Different materials attract different life. Wood supports one community. Iron supports another. Copper can inhibit some organisms. Paint and coatings alter settlement. Even the shape of the ship affects water flow and habitat. Vertical walls create current exposure. Interior spaces provide shelter. Open decks collect sediment. Every surface develops a different biological history. Some wrecks become artificial reefs, rich with fish. Others remain sparsely colonized. The outcome depends on depth, temperature, currents, oxygen, and location. A wreck in shallow tropical water changes differently from one in a cold abyssal plain. There is no single fate. The ocean rewrites each vessel in its own way. Farther across the seabed, we see another human object. It is smaller and more recent. A plastic container rests in the sediment. Nearby lies a length of cable. The contrast is quiet but important. Human traces in the deep sea are not limited to history. They are being added now. Plastic can sink after becoming covered with organisms. Dense materials fall directly. Currents carry waste into remote regions. Some debris reaches trenches. The deepest parts of the ocean are not beyond human influence. Microplastics have been found in deep sediments and inside animals. These particles come from larger plastics, synthetic clothing, industrial materials, and many other sources. They can travel through rivers, wind, currents, and food webs. The path from a city to the deep ocean may be long, but it exists. The deep sea gathers what sinks. Marine debris can create habitat in some cases. Small animals attach to bottles, cans, and lost equipment. But this does not make the pollution beneficial. Artificial materials can release chemicals. They can entangle animals. They can be eaten. They can transport species to new places. Their ecological effects may continue for decades or centuries. A plastic object can outlast the purpose for which it was made. It becomes part of an environment that evolved without it. Fishing gear is especially common in some areas. Lost lines continue drifting. Nets settle over reefs and wrecks. Traps remain on the bottom. Animals enter and cannot escape. The gear continues fishing without anyone collecting the catch. It becomes a machine of unnecessary loss. Deep water makes recovery difficult, but specialized expeditions can sometimes remove it. Every recovered net prevents future entanglement. Every cleared wreck allows habitat to remain open. Human activity also reaches the deep ocean through cables. Submarine communication cables cross the sea floor. They carry enormous amounts of global data. Messages, financial transactions, video calls, and internet traffic pass through glass fibers beneath the ocean. The modern world depends on these quiet lines. Most people never see them. A cable may lie thousands of meters deep. It is protected by the difficulty of reaching it. Near shore, cables are often buried. In deep water, they may rest directly on the seabed. Ships map routes carefully before installation. They avoid steep slopes, unstable sediment, and known hazards. Cable breaks can result from earthquakes, landslides, anchors, or fishing activity. Repair ships locate the damaged section. They raise the cable from the seabed. A new segment is joined, and the line is lowered again. The process connects advanced technology with old maritime skill. The global network appears invisible, but much of it is physically present in the ocean. Scientific instruments also rest on the sea floor. Observatories measure earthquakes, currents, temperature, chemistry, and sound. Some are connected by cable to shore. They provide continuous data from places once visited only briefly. A camera can watch a vent for months. A seismometer can record distant earthquakes. A microphone can listen for whales. The deep ocean becomes less silent to science, yet observation must remain careful. Light can disturb animals. Sound can alter behavior. Equipment can introduce surfaces and materials. Every instrument changes the environment slightly. The goal is to learn while leaving as little impact as possible. Deep-sea mining has introduced another major concern. Parts of the seafloor contain mineral-rich nodules and deposits. Companies and governments have explored the possibility of collecting them. Machines would move across the bottom. They would remove nodules and disturb sediment. A plume of fine particles could spread through the water. Noise and light would enter dark habitats. The long-term effects remain uncertain. Some deep-sea organisms grow slowly and live only on hard surfaces provided by nodules. If the nodules are removed, their habitat disappears. Because nodules take millions of years to form, replacement is not realistic on human timescales. The central question is not only whether mining is technically possible, it is whether enough is known to predict and accept the consequences. The deep ocean is still poorly understood. Many species have not been described. Food webs remain incomplete. Recovery rates are uncertain. Using a system before understanding it creates risk. The darkness should not be mistaken for emptiness. An unseen habitat can still be complex. A quiet place can still be vulnerable. Shipwrecks reveal this clearly. At first, the structure looks abandoned, but when our light moves closer, life appears everywhere. A small fish rests beside a window. A crab crosses the deck. An anemone opens along a railing. Bacteria transform the steel. Sediment shelters worms. The wreck is full of activity. Its original human story has ended. A new ecological story has begun. The two stories now exist together. A navigation instrument may be covered in coral. A doorway may become a fish shelter. A cargo hold may collect marine snow. The boundary between artifact and habitat slowly disappears. In time, parts of the vessel will collapse. The hull will flatten. Sediment will cover it. Future observers may see only fragments. Later still, perhaps only a chemical trace will remain. Nothing in the ocean is truly permanent, not even steel, not even stone. But disappearance does not erase meaning. For a while, the wreck preserves a moment. It holds the shape of a journey that stopped. It records technology, trade, conflict, weather. Then the ocean gradually takes it apart. The process is slow enough for us to watch, slow enough for life to settle, slow enough for history and biology to overlap. As we pass above the deck, our light reveals one final section of railing. Beyond it, the bow fades into darkness. The vessel seems almost to be traveling still. Its shape points forward, but it will not leave this place. The water moves around it. The ship remains. A thin layer of sediment lifts and settles. A rusticle bends gently. A fish slips through an opening. Then we turn away. Behind us, the wreck becomes a shadow. Straight lines disappear. The ocean floor returns to soft mud and scattered stone. Yet human traces remain around us. A bottle, cable, a lost net, a scientific instrument. The deep sea holds both memory and consequence. It remembers ancient climates and sediment. It remembers lost journeys and wrecks. It remembers modern choices in plastic and metal. What sinks does not simply vanish. It enters another world. There, it may remain for generations. The ocean carries our history farther than we often imagine. We can rest with that thought for a moment, not as a warning, simply as an awareness. Every place on Earth is connected. The surface and the deep, the present and the past, the things we use and the places they eventually reach. Deep ocean receives quietly. It does not announce what has arrived. It folds objects into sediment. It covers them with life. It preserves some. It transforms others. And then it continues. Ahead of us, the darkness begins to soften. Not because sunlight has reached this depth, but because our long journey is beginning to turn upward. We have visited trenches, vents, seeps, coral gardens, and open water. We have followed whales, squid, microbes, and falling ships. Now, in the final part of our descent, we will begin to rise. We will move slowly back through the layers of the ocean. We will gather the quiet facts of the deep into one final journey toward the surface. Our journey through the deep ocean is beginning to turn upward. Far below us, the sea floor slowly disappears. The sediment, stone, coral, and wreckage become faint shapes. Then even those shapes are gone. Once again, there is only open water. We rise gently through the darkness. There is no need to hurry. The ocean has taken millions of years to form its layers. We can move through them slowly. Behind us lies the abyssal plain. There, marine snow continues to fall. Tiny fragments of life drift downward through the water. Some will be eaten before reaching the bottom. Others will settle into the sediment. Layer by layer, The seafloor will continue recording the world above. Dust from distant deserts will arrive. Microscopic shells will gather. Volcanic ash may settle after an eruption. The deep ocean will preserve these traces quietly. Far below, sea cucumbers continue moving through the mud. Brittle stars extend their arms. Small crustaceans search for food. Microbes remain active beneath the sediment. Their lives are slow, but they are not unimportant. They recycle nutrients. They transform carbon. They support ecosystems hidden from ordinary sight. The deepest habitats on Earth depend on countless small processes. No single organism controls them. The system continues through cooperation, competition, decay, and renewal. As we rise, we pass above a distant trench. Its steep walls remain invisible in darkness. The Hadal zone lies below. Pressure there is enormous. Yet soft-bodied snailfish and tiny amphipods continue their lives. They feed, move, reproduce, and respond to the world around them. Life has reached almost every place where liquid water, energy, and suitable chemistry can be found. The deepest trenches are not empty holes. They are habitats with their own communities. Each trench may contain species shaped by isolation. Each one may hold biological stories still unknown. The ocean remains one of Earth's greatest places of discovery. Even now, new species are being described. New behaviors are being observed. New geological features are being mapped. The age of exploration did not end when the continents were charted. Much of the planet still lies beneath water. We continue upward. Far behind us, a hydrothermal vent releases hot, mineral-rich fluid. The black plume rises and mixes with cold seawater. Tube worms open their red plumes. Shrimp gather along the chimney. Bacteria use chemical energy to create food. No sunlight reaches them. They do not wait for dawn. Their ecosystem is powered by heat and chemistry from inside the earth. The vent reminds us that life can be supported in more than one way. Sunlight is common near the surface, but it is not the only possible source of energy. Chemical reactions can feed entire communities. Rock and water can create the conditions for biology. The boundary between geology and life is not always clear. Sometimes, living systems emerge directly from the movement of minerals and heat. Nearby, cold seeps release methane through the sediment. Brine rests in pools on the seafloor. Mussels gather along chemical boundaries. Microbes consume gases rising from below. The deep ocean quietly filters and transforms material. Methane may be consumed before reaching the atmosphere. Carbon may be stored in sediment. Minerals may become solid rock. These processes take place far from human attention, but they are connected to the planet's climate and chemistry. The deep sea may feel distant. It is still part of the same system that creates weather, supports fisheries, and regulates temperature. We rise past the slopes of a seamount. Cold water corals extend their branches into the current. Some colonies have lived for centuries. Glass sponges filter water through delicate skeletons. Feather stars open their arms. A Dumbo octopus moves slowly above the rock. The seamount redirects currents and creates an island of life. Its summit may never touch the air. Still, it shapes the ocean around it. Underwater mountains influence migration, feeding, and circulation. Some were once islands. Others may one day erode and sink deeper. The solid earth changes beneath the sea, just as it does on land. Volcanoes form. Plates move. Crust is created and destroyed. Over millions of years, entire ocean basins open and close. The ocean floor is not ancient everywhere. Much of it is younger than the continents. New rock forms along mid-ocean ridges. Older rock moves away and eventually returns beneath another plate. The sea floor is part of a slow planetary cycle. The ground beneath the ocean is always traveling. As we continue upward, a low series of clicks passes through the water. A sperm whale is diving somewhere in the distance. It descends through darkness using stored oxygen. Its heartbeat slows. What? Its lungs adjust to pressure. Sound reveals the unseen space ahead. Each click travels outward. Each echo returns with information. The whale does not need sunlight to find its way. The ocean is visible to it through sound. Farther away, other whales may hear calls crossing great distances. The water connects them acoustically. A voice can travel through darkness long after its source has moved on. The ocean contains many kinds of maps. Whales use echoes. Sharks sense electrical fields. Turtles may use Earth's magnetic field. Fish follow temperature, scent, current, and memory. Every animal experiences the same ocean differently. The deep sea is not defined only by darkness. It is defined by the senses that have evolved to understand it. A giant squid may detect faint bioluminescent disturbance. A shark may follow a chemical trail. A small shrimp may notice vibration. A transparent fish may hide by producing light. What seems empty to human eyes can be filled with signals. We pass through the midnight zone. No natural sunlight reaches us yet, but points of blue light appear nearby. A small animal flashes and disappears. Another glows along its underside. A jelly-like body drifts past with a soft green shimmer. Bioluminescence is one of the most common forms of communication in the deep sea. Light can attract prey. It can confuse predators. It can help animals find mates. It can hide a silhouette. It can act as a warning. In the darkness, light becomes language. Most of these signals are brief. A flash lasts only a moment. Then the ocean returns to black. Perhaps this is what makes deep sea light so beautiful. It does not try to fill the darkness. It appears only when needed. A small message. Short defense. A quiet invitation, and stillness again. We continue to rise. The pressure around us gradually decreases. The water remains cold, but the change is slow. Above, the twilight zone is waiting. This layer receives only faint sunlight. It is too dark for ordinary plants to grow, but it contains enormous numbers of animals. Lanternfish, squid, crustaceans, and gelatinous creatures move through it. Every evening, many travel upward. Every morning, they return to depth. This daily vertical migration is one of the greatest movements of life on Earth. It happens across entire oceans. It happens whether anyone watches or not. Billions of animals follow the fading and return of light. They carry carbon and nutrients between layers. The movement of tiny bodies influences the chemistry of the planet. We often imagine that only large events matter. The deep ocean suggests otherwise. A small fish swimming downward can transport carbon. A larvation abandoning its mucus house can carry particles toward the seafloor. A microbe consuming methane can affect the atmosphere. A coral polyp adding a thin layer can build a reef over centuries. A single action may be small. Repeated across time and countless organisms, it becomes enormous. The ocean is built from accumulated smallness. Drops become currents. Particles become sediment. Polyps become reefs. Cells become ecosystems. Years become geological ages. We are now entering the twilight zone. A faint blue appears above us. It is not yet bright. It is only a soft change in the darkness. The water is no longer completely black. Shapes become easier to notice. a fish turns and reflects a small amount of light. A squid passes beneath us. Its body fades into the blue. The return of light is gradual. There is no sharp boundary. One layer blends into the next. The ocean does not divide itself with visible lines. Humans create names for depth zones because names help us understand. Sunlight zone, twilight zone, midnight zone, abyssal zone, hadal zone. But the water itself remains continuous. Temperature changes slowly. Pressure changes continuously. Light fades by degrees. Animals move between regions. The boundaries are useful, but nature is always more fluid than the categories used to describe it. We rise through water that contains countless drifting particles. Marine snow is falling past us. From this direction, it appears to move upward. In reality, we are rising while it continues downward. Each fragment is part of a larger cycle. Life grows near the surface. Material sinks. Deep animals consume it. Microbes break it down. Nutrients are released. Currents eventually return some of those nutrients upward. New life grows again. The ocean is not a one-way descent. It is circulation. Water moves. Matter changes form. Energy passes through living bodies. Nothing remains in one state forever. Even a whale fall is temporary. At first, large scavengers feed. Then smaller animals arrive. Microbes transform the bones. Eventually, the concentrated food is gone. But during its time on the seafloor, the whale supports an entire community. One life becomes many others. The same is true across the ocean. The death of plankton feeds deep fish. The remains of a tree support sea-floor organisms. A shell becomes sediment. A skeleton becomes habitat. Loss and creation are often part of the same process. We are rising now through a layer visited by migrating animals. Lanternfish hover in the dim water. Their photophores glow faintly. The pattern of lights along each body may help identify species. It may help individuals recognize one another. A small fish carries a constellation beneath its skin. Nearby, a hatchetfish angles its silver body. Its shape reduces the shadow visible from below. Light organs along its underside match the faint glow from above. It disappears almost completely. Camouflage in the twilight zone is a careful balance. Too dark, and the animal becomes a silhouette. Too bright, and it becomes visible. The fish adjusts its light to the environment and hides not by becoming black, but by becoming part of the illumination. Farther upward, the number of particles increases. The water contains plankton. Some are plants, some are animals, some are organisms that do not fit neatly into either category. They drift with currents. They may be microscopic, yet they support much of ocean life. Phytoplankton use sunlight and carbon dioxide. They release oxygen. A significant portion of the oxygen in Earth's atmosphere is produced by marine microorganisms. The air we breathe is connected to life in the sea. Each breath carries the result of countless photosynthetic cells. The forest is not the only source of oxygen. The open ocean is also a vast living surface. Tiny organisms in sunlit water help maintain the atmosphere. Their individual lives are brief. Their collective influence is planetary. Many phytoplankton build beautiful structures. Diatoms create shells from silica. Coccolithophores cover themselves with tiny plates of calcium carbonate. Dinoflagellates may possess delicate armor and moving flagella. Under a microscope, plankton reveal intricate forms: stars, disks, spirals. Chains, transparent chambers. The smallest ocean life contains some of its most detailed architecture. When these organisms die, parts of their bodies sink. Over long periods, their remains can form thick deposits. Some chalk and limestone on land began as microscopic marine shells. Ancient seafloors were lifted by geological movement. The remains of plankton became cliffs and hills. A tiny organism that once drifted in sunlight can become part of a mountain. The ocean and land exchange material across immense spans of time. We rise farther, the blue grows brighter. The upper ocean is warmer, the pressure is lower, more fish appear. Some move in schools. A school can turn almost as one body. Each fish watches the movement of its neighbors. No single leader directs the group. Simple local responses create coordinated motion. The school becomes flexible and fast. It can confuse predators. It can help individuals find food. It can reduce the energy required for swimming. Collective behavior emerges from attention. One fish responds to another, then another. The entire group changes direction. The ocean contains many forms of cooperation without planning. Coral polyps build colonies. Microbes exchange nutrients. Fish form schools. Whales maintain social bonds through sound. Life often becomes more successful when individuals respond to one another. A sea turtle moves slowly through the blue water. Some sea turtles cross entire oceans. They may return to regions where they hatched. Their navigation likely uses several cues. Earth's magnetic field provides broad direction. Wave patterns, smell, and memory may help near the destination. The journey can cover thousands of kilometers. The turtle travels without roads. Its route is written in the properties of the planet. The magnetic field is invisible. Yet, life has learned to read it. A migrating animal carries a map within its senses. Above us, the surface is becoming clearer. Sunlight breaks into moving patterns. The waves act like lenses. Bright lines dance through the water. A deep darkness is now far below. But it has not disappeared. It remains beneath every ocean surface. A person standing on a beach sees only the upper boundary of a vast vertical world. Below the waves are forests, deserts, mountains, plains, lakes of brine, rivers of dense water, volcanic towers, coral gardens, trenches, and open darkness. The sea is not one habitat. It is many habitats stacked together. Most of its living space lies far from sunlight. The familiar surface is only the beginning. We continue upward toward the sunlight zone. Here, photosynthesis becomes possible. Seaweed grows where there is enough light and a place to attach. Microscopic algae drift everywhere. Fish display brighter colors. Vision becomes more important. Predators and prey can see across greater distances. The rhythm of day and night returns. Light changes with weather. Seasons affect temperature and food. The environment becomes more variable. Life near the surface must respond quickly. Storms mix the water. Currents shift. Plankton blooms appear and fade. The deep ocean was stable and slow. The upper ocean is active and changing. Neither is more alive. They simply follow different tempos. Near the surface, waves create constant motion. Water rises and falls. Bubbles form. Sound becomes sharper. Rain may strike from above. Wind transfers energy into the sea. The calm pressure of the deep is replaced by movement. Yet even this motion has patterns. Waves travel. Tides rise and fall. Currents follow coastlines and cross basins. The moon pulls gently on the ocean. The sun contributes as well. gravity moves entire seas. The tides are one more reminder that the ocean is connected to forces beyond Earth. The moon, hundreds of thousands of kilometers away, helps shape the movement of coastal water. The ocean links geology, atmosphere, biology, and space. Its currents carry heat around the planet. Warm water moves away from the tropics. Cold water returns through deeper pathways. This circulation affects climate. Coastal temperatures, rainfall patterns, and storm development are all connected to the sea. The ocean stores heat and releases it gradually. Without it, Earth's climate would be far more extreme. The deep ocean plays a central role in this storage. Heat absorbed near the surface can be transported downward. Carbon dioxide can dissolve into seawater. Some is used by organisms. Some is carried into deeper layers. The ocean slows many atmospheric changes, but its capacity is not unlimited. Warmer water expands. It holds less dissolved oxygen. It affects coral growth and species distribution. Increasing carbon dioxide changes ocean acidity. The deep sea may appear protected from rapid change, but eventually, changes at the surface can reach it. Currents connect the layers. Sinking particles carry material downward. Temperature and chemistry spread slowly. What happens above does not remain above forever. The entire ocean is one connected body. That connection also creates hope. Understanding the ocean can improve protection. Reducing pollution at the source keeps waste from reaching trenches. Managing fisheries protects food webs. Reducing greenhouse gas emissions limits warming and acidification. Protecting seamounts and coral habitats preserves slow-growing ecosystems. Careful research helps reveal what should not be disturbed. The deep ocean is difficult to restore. The best protection is often preventing damage before it begins. Knowledge encourages care. It is easier to value a place once its life becomes visible. A trench is no longer empty when we know snailfish live there. A vent is no longer barren when we understand chemosynthesis. A coral branch is no longer just a structure when we know it may be centuries old. A patch of sediment is no longer featureless when we know microbes live meters beneath it. The ocean becomes richer through attention. We are now just below the surface. The light is bright but soft. Waves move above us like a shifting ceiling. The deep journey remains beneath. 10,000 meters of water may lie below some parts of the sea. Every layer continues without us. The whales dive. The lanternfish migrate. The vent fluid rises. Corals feed. The microbes transform methane. The marine snow falls. The wrecks slowly change. The trenches remain dark. Nothing has stopped because our journey is ending. The ocean continues. Perhaps that is one of the most restful thoughts. The world does not depend on our constant attention. Countless natural processes continue quietly. Clouds move. Tides change. Cells divide. Currents flow. Animals travel through darkness. There is no need to supervise them. No need to understand every detail tonight. The ocean can carry on by itself. You can rest. You can let the facts drift away. There is nothing to memorize, nothing to complete. The journey has already brought us back. We rise through the final meter of water. The surface opens above. For a moment, we pass through silver light. Then we are floating beneath a wide night sky. The ocean below is dark blue. The waves move slowly. Moonlight stretches across the water. From here, the deep sea is invisible, but it is still present, layer beneath layer, world beneath world. The quietest places on Earth remain below us. You can imagine the entire ocean breathing in slow motion. A wave rises. A wave falls. Deep water moves through ancient currents. A whale releases a distant call. Marine snow continues its gentle descent. The rhythm is steady. The planet turns. Night passes over the sea. Far from shore, the surface reflects the stars. Far below, living lights answer in blue. Two skies face one another. One above the water, one within the darkness. And between them rests the great ocean, deep, cold, ancient, alive. You have traveled through its layers. You have visited places where sunlight has never reached. You have seen how life waits, glows, filters, listens, and adapts. You have followed the slow movement of water and time. Now there is nowhere else you need to go. The vessel is still. The waves are gentle. The night is quiet. You can allow your breathing to become slower. Let each breath arrive naturally. Let each thought sink like a soft particle through calm water. It does not need to be followed. It can drift downward, farther and farther, until it disappears into the peaceful dark. The ocean below will hold it. The water will remain steady. The night will continue, and you can rest. Good night.